Welcome to Starfinder X.T.R.E.M.
Hooray!
Oh yeah!
Who is ready for some packed world wrestling action set in the Starfinder RPG?
Oh
definitely
yeah!
am.
Oh yeah!
I'm ready to bear drills people.
Oh yeah, I like that the energy is starting up high for this because I feel like we really need to go high octane from here. So if we're starting up high, I'm feeling pretty good about this today.
Star Day! Star Day! Star Day!
That's
Welcome
right.
to the Glitter Dome.
Oh, there will be glitter, there will be barbed wire, there'll be ladders, there'll be folding chairs. We basically have all of your wrestling antics set in the far future campaign setting of the Starfinder RPG, produced and published here by Paizo. I just wanted to take a few minutes to introduce what this stream is and who we are and what we're doing here today for you. First of all, we are all employees at Paizo Incorporated, which is the company that publishes the Starfinder RPG, of course. And we have been more than eager to start up an actual play Starfinder RPG stream for quite some time. So today, we thought that we'd bring you a deep, serious, brooding, grimdark story about the horrors of the universe descending around heroes who are doomed to face impossible choices. Just kidding! We're gonna bring some wrestling goodness to Starfinder today. In all seriousness, I did want to take a moment just before we get started to address the elephant in the room, starting with the fact that we aren't all actually in the same room. Everything that's going on in the world right now is terrible and scary for everybody. We've been working from home for several weeks, and that is why we are all streaming today from our homes. But we just want to say that we're doing everything we can to stay safe and keep everyone around us safe. And that as gamers, we understand the power of role-playing and camaraderie. Whether it's us as friends and players in this game, or you, our community, coming together to hang out with us, chat with us, enjoy this game with us, and watch us play and have a good time. We hope you also have a good time today. It's our hope that this game will be fun and silly and bring you any little measure of enjoyment and maybe even some catharsis. We're going to do our best to be as silly and over the top as possible. In short, we're going to be extreme, and we want you guys to join into the fun.
Oh yeah!
So we've got lots of
I'm ready to
extreme
choke slam
goodness.
people as a large creature.
I expect you to have all kinds of wrestling moves already thought out and ready to go, Peyton. Don't let me down.
Oh, I need to start making a list. Thank gosh you have like a generator.
I do. So let's let ourselves be introduced to all of our fans and friends in chat today. I see a couple of folks that are just multiple viewers and participants in our games, which is fun. So Adam Daigle, the managing developer of Pathfinder's in there. We miss you too, Adam. I see Chris from Amazon. Hey Chris, how's it going? So my name is Amanda Hamon. I am the game master today, and I'm the managing developer of the Starfinder RPG here. And playing with me today, we'll go ahead and start with Peyton. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Peyton Smith, and basically my YouTube channel and everything is Zoran the Bear for all the people asked and myself to come over and say hello. I am playing basically Cord, otherwise known as Bear Drills, which is my wrestling name. I am a uplifted bear vanguard, which is pretty much think of like a tech tank, pretty much. Am I a bit point? There we go. Fix myself. So basically, I am pretty much the large tank of the group. I'm basically going to be frontlining everything else. Going to produce a shield, protecting my allies as much as I can, and basically just destroying people in the ring. But I plan not to try to kill anybody in the ring. So thankfully, I only use my fist or my bear drill to take out the majority of my enemies. And I think it's the background or whatever it is for Starfinder. So I am a mercenary as well. There's a mercenary who's gone throughout the galaxy trying to find the rest of his uplifted bear kin who maybe have been, part of a trade and everything else. He tried to find them, couldn't find them, lost all faith, and became a wrestler to pass the time as he tried to find more leads. So that is my character. And
I think that's entirely reasonable, Peyton, just to become a wrestler to pass the time. When you're a giant impenetrable wall of bear flesh, I think that becoming a wrestler is well within your rights.
And I am super excited to play. And we can continue down the list. I think we also have Jason Tondro with us here today.
Hey, I'm Jason Tondro. I'm a developer for Starfinder, working mostly on adventure paths. And I am playing Hieronomo Jones, the four-fisted smash. He is a Kasatha who went on his tempering to wander the galaxy and learn about himself and the universe. And he learned that he was not a bad wrestler. So he decided that is his destiny. and he's a Solarian. I look forward to being the straight man for all of the wacky antics of my wrestler colleagues. But I'm the face guy. His wrestling personality is an over-the-top, super good guy that gets a lot of chairs smashed over his head from behind.
You're the hero the Pact Worlds deserves, Jake.
Yeah, exactly. He's the hero we deserve. Yeah.
Someone in chat said you're our manager, and I feel like you're going to be yelling at me a lot.
That's an interesting point. I think in a group that also includes an actual lawyer character who's playing a lawyer wrestler, that's very interesting that the Kasatha would be the leader and the manager of the group, but it does kind of make sense. Andrew, why don't you introduce yourself and explain a little bit more about the Litigator?
All right, I'm Andrew. I am the front-end dev lead on Paizo.com, and I am playing Daeve Palanshuk, otherwise known as the Litigator. He is well known throughout the Pact Worlds for his ubiquitous infomercials on late-night vidcasts, and sometimes known for representing his clients in court. He's a personal injury lawyer by trade, and he's a wrestler by night, which also happens to be a good way to meet people who were recently injured or are about to be injured.
You know, these are very rough and tumble productions, and sometimes the wrestling moves into the crowd, and sometimes the crowd doesn't move out of the way of the wrestling. So it's good that we have someone on hand who can help with litigation tactics, right, Andrew?
Class-wise, and class-wise, he is a witch warper, which means he has a magical ability to warp reality, which is super useful in court and occasionally useful in the ring. So we'll see how well that works for him today.
Have you mentioned the litigator species at all?
I did not. He is a Durindi, which is a species from Alien Archive 3. We are native to the planet Arcanon. We're these short, little, wrinkly gray guys with 3 eyes. We are known for 2 things. Being able to generate electricity from our hands at will. We basically have our walking joy buzzers. And also for our loose standards with the truth.
All right. So you're not the only character who has a profession outside of the ring. In fact, everybody does, but some of you have a little bit more prominent work jobs that you do outside of the ring. And John Compton, why don't you introduce yourself and your character as a result?
Yeah, so while Daeve Palanshuk is out there being a litigator and ambulance chasing in the ring, drumming up clients, I'm there to actually solve problems. I'm John Compton. I'm Starfinder senior developer, and I'm going to be playing Tehwas, which is an embry biohacker. Embries are these masked mollusks from Alien Archive 2, a lot of whom are raised in an inadvertently infernal upbringing. So, like many of her kin, Tehwas is a very structured individual, but has learned a nicer side that she can express through being a pharmacological zoologist. She helps out on Castrovel, helping, baby 5-eyed koalas or whatever the heck is going on that planet. But she gets out all of her stress by getting into the ring, which is something she picked up in the last couple of months, where she's taken on the moniker Malscripcion, who is a masked wrestler, luchadora sort of figure. But she just has such a disdain for people that she has quickly become the heel of the ring, and she has an almost universally losing record, possibly because she is not designed for wrestling whatsoever. But that doesn't stop her from showing up.
Oh, all right. Well, so this fun cast of characters is going to be your stars today and your wrestling performance, which we're going to get into here in a moment. But there's one other thing that we wanted to mention. Like I said at the beginning of this, we are all streaming from our homes. We are making do with the environments that we have at our disposal right now, which means that we are sharing our spaces during the day with spaces that actually belong to our pets. Many of us have pets at home. You will probably hear a dog ruff. You will probably hear a dog whine. You might see a cat jump in front of my camera. You very well might hear Ajax, who is my big ol' fluffy, completely perfectly well-behaved and trained husky mix who sometimes just
I have a
decides
solution.
that he
And
won't be
dog
ignored.
picture. There you go. You're now Ajax.
Clearly he's the real GM, Peyton here, right?
Yeah,
So-
correct.
So every time Ajax just decides that he wants a little bit of excitement thrown into the game, or anytime you hear anybody else's pets on stream, or anybody makes any reference to a pet needing to be moved or petted or demanding attention, I encourage you very much in chat to call that out, shout about it, say that you've heard something. And if you do, and we are able to incorporate it into the game, I have got a fancy little web tool, and it is a random wrestling move generator. I will just click that wrestling tool. I will grab a random wrestling move name, and we'll throw that into the game in whatever way it makes sense to incorporate it. So that might be during a wrestling match, and then a player gets to decide how they perform this move. It might be during some other type of game element. We'll get that figured out, but in some way, we want our pets to be able to decide some of the things that are happening in the game. We think that will be pretty fun. So, with all of that, are you guys ready to get started?
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right. So our wrestling saga today begins with the Xeno Trouble Wrestling Entertainment Matches, or X.T.R.E.M, a rough and tumble amateur wrestling league based in the Pact Worlds. You see, the thing about extreme wrestling is that these shows aren't exactly the slick, high production value, glitzy corporate affairs that are backed by enormous sponsors and broadcast at premium costs all across the infosphere. Oh, no. This is nothing like that. These matches are a lot rougher. This is salt of the earth, more just fundamental, I might say, wrestling that just gets down to the core of the athletes and also the fandoms, and anything can happen in these events. They're dirty, there are folding chairs, there are ladders, there are 2x4s covered in barbed wire, there are tables that people are often thrown out of the ring and onto. These matches happen in abandoned arenas, sweaty gyms, and sometimes even in fields that are hastily set up as wrestling rings. Lori in chat, Dartha Christov in chat is very correct that this is not a Zoe-produced show. Everything is sort of ad hoc, and the league barely breaks even. So using lethal weapons is not allowed in this ring, but that doesn't mean that there aren't a few that are always present around the ring, within the crowd, or just stashed underneath things, just kind of upping the danger and the drama factor significantly of this production. Its wrestlers are paid a few credits for their services, but almost none of them are professionals, and all of them have jobs as our PCs have described.
If only
However,
wrestling paid the bills.
You're a mercenary, so you probably could make a little bit more money, but that doesn't matter to you, Peyton, because you are passionate about wrestling.
The ring
right?
is my passion and my dream.
The ring is where you thrive, Peyton. So today, the curtain opens on a big deal for the Extreme League. Today is event day for Extreme Brawl for All, an event that just might put this little wrestling league on the map. There are a couple of investors tied to Absalom Station and some real wealth within the galaxy that have somehow become fans of this league, as they've picked up on these bootleg broadcasts that are hit and miss just throughout the Pact Worlds. And these investors have provided some funds for a major event to attract viewers and fans. If this Brawl for All event is successful, Extreme can become a real wrestling league, paying its athletes like professionals and setting up major streamed events. So the commissioner for Extreme, an android named the Kiddo, has gone all out. He's used all of the investors' money to erect a temporary stadium out in the wilds of Akiton, near an abandoned Thastron mining facility. He's erected tents for all of the fans to come camp out and get hyped up before the actual event. And he has been really catering to the fan base and promoting this as being streamed across several different channels throughout the infosphere. He's hired a meager production staff. He's coaxed an aging Pact Worlds wrestling megastar to join the event as a major guest. This is the biggest thing that any of you have ever been involved in. So, unlike a lot of extreme events, you haven't been told exactly what the commissioner expects to happen or whether there's any sort of desired outcome to the match. You haven't been told when this so-called wrestling megastar is going to join the event. You only know that it is Brandy Brutal, who is a star that had his heyday probably about a decade ago and is now trying to break back into wrestling and still has a very rabid fan base. Part of you kind of suspects that the commissioner is setting up some sort of narrative where Brandy Brutal annihilates all of you while the crowd screams in excitement, but you don't really know for sure. You've simply been told that you must put on the performance of your lives. And you're convinced that the best way to do that is if the scrappy wrestlers from Extreme take down this big name champ. Regardless of what might happen, the rules about weapons in the league still remain in place. You are not to inflict real lethal damage on purpose for any of the combatants. That means you, La Malscripcion.
I do what I need to.
It's like if death is another form of unconsciousness, does it still count?
I don't know. I think somebody might quibble with that, Peyton.
Are we allowed to use lethal damage to bring them to the brink of death and then knock them unconscious?
I mean, you could probably make an argument for not meaning to break that poor wrestler's face, or not meaning to slam that 2x4 over their back.
I mean, if we
Batman
lethally,
yeah, we're all familiar with that.
If we
That's
lethally
right.
almost bring them down and then heal them back so they're not dead, it still counts, right?
Dang it, Andrew, are you healing in on my heal territory?
I'll also do what I need to work for you.
That's right. Oh, we've already got somebody putting 500 credits on Bear Drills.
The right choice.
Oh, clearly. All right. So, you are all gathered in the green room of the arena that has been erected rather hastily there in the wilds of Akiton. And so you are backstage. We'll move your tokens backstage. And you are hearing the opening events because all of these big wrestling events don't just happen in a vacuum. They always have little events to kind of hype the crowd up and showcase newer wrestlers or just entertain the crowd before the main event happens. So right now you're overhearing what sounds to be like a tag team match between a couple of different groups that are going at each other, and the crowd is screaming, and you're not exactly hearing what's going on, and there's not exactly video feedback in the green room because, again, this is all very much on a budget. But you're getting ready for your match, and you're waiting for the commissioner to give you the go-ahead to go out. What are you guys doing right now? And we will start with Jake.
Oh, naturally. What is he doing? He's probably you know what? He's like introducing himself to anybody that he hasn't already met. Like, you know, you have to be nice in the locker room, right? Like if you're going to be the face. So he's like thanking the staff for all of their hard work and putting up this arena. And
it's easy for you because you can shake hands with 4 people at a time.
I'm really good on the hot
That's
dog.
cheating.
Yes.
Wait, you folks got hands? I didn't get hands.
Yes, I have hands.
Hieronomo, you just can't help but try to be everybody's best friend, can you, Hieronomo?
Exactly.
Those fist tattoos are really just all for effect. You just want to give people hugs. Is that what it is?
The fist tattoos are my fourfold motto, right? Like he's got 4 words that make up his mantra, and they're all tattooed on his fist. And now I have to remember what they all are: valor, peace,
honor and truth.
Honor and truth. Thank you. Yes. See,
the fourfold way.
Look at my hands so I can remember. But yeah. So he's just he's literally glad handing people.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Malscripcion, what do you think about all of this just feel good, sugar-coated introductory goodness? How are you feeling about that?
Honestly, these days, I'm just really kind of pleased that I'm not part of the opening warm-up act. I feel like I've really come so far. Like, all these people nearby me, like Bear Drills has won who knows how many matches at this point. Hieronomo Jones like keeps on getting set up to win things because it makes the crowd feel good in these Akitonian times. And me, I'm just there to get driven into the sand and wait. Oh, nope. I'm probably here to get driven into the sand. I'm just part of the warm-up act for the warm-up acts now. Well, that makes me hate everybody.
So is it safe to say that Malscripcion has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder as she expects that she's just going to be made the butt of this entire production?
In fact, she still has about 5 chips on her shoulder from the last time that she got thrown around.
She doesn't have any shoulders.
Okay, my mollusk ridges. What do you want from me? Fortunately,
there's vaguely shoulder-like protuberances on the back of her head, right? I mean, that is your head, isn't it?
Well,
stop studying my anatomy. So basically,
look, we all know that your mollusk ridges bring all of the wrestlers to the yard. Okay, we're just gonna have to accept that.
Yes, my 3-chamber heart will be pumping extra hard to get ready for the action. But yeah, I figure it's a blessing that I have this mask that is hiding the scowl that I'm giving everybody, because I'm only more convinced that everybody's out to get me at this point.
All right, so you're just kind of over in the corner eyeballing people, being suspicious about why you're even here.
whispering, "What's the catch?"
What's the catch? You're just watching out of your peripheral vision for 2x4s, right?
Yeah, and I'm also really taking sort of mental bets that like Brandy Brutal, who I don't know anything about, is probably like some sort of Yosoki who's still going to throw bear drills through a wall.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. Well, we'll get here in a moment to see if anybody knows anything about Brandy Brutal. But Peyton, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Bear Drills is up to in the green room while he's waiting to get called out?
I'm just sitting here just kind of looking. I assume there's going to be like a mirror and everything, and I'm just kind of like just adjusting my arms, checking if all the muscles are working great, and just like, yeah, I'm going to get up there, I'm going to do this pose, the crowd's going to like this position. Now if I'm going to do this kind of flexing thing, they're going to like this position. I'm practicing poses. So as soon as I come out there, I can start riling up the crowd. I'm just seeing, my large creature size is in the middle of the ring, ready to destroy everything, try to bring the crowd up in my renown. And as soon as pretty much in the green room, there's just us in there, right? There's like no other people.
Yes, there's just you. There's a couple of production staff kind of milling about, but what you're really waiting on is for the commissioner to come in and tell you that you're about to go on stage, you're about to be announced, and then you've got a whole introduction spiel that happens in the way that wrestlers have got introduction songs, and you come out and you work the crowd up and things like that. You're waiting for that to kick off.
Cool. And so I'm basically just kind of looking at everyone like, don't worry, everyone. All you have to do is pretty much stand behind me, and me and my actual muscles will be able to defend you. And I kind of like show off the ginormous slab of metal riot shield that I have with me. It's like, don't worry, I'm going to make sure everyone's nice and protected. And I'm just stretching and like flexing and everything, just practicing for the crowd.
I thought you were going to say that you show off your massive biceps and that they would be like shaved.
I'm doing that too.
Like little bear tattoos on your biceps.
I have mom with a heart and an arrow through it, and
that's amazing. You should just have just your biceps shaved.
That's right, just the bicep shave. And he's got sweat guards. He's got little like just things around his arms that he can then pull off and show off his tattoos.
Do you have like fingers, or how exactly do uplifted bear hands work?
I don't know. I think I just have like...
You have paws and claws, my friend.
I think in the art that we have, I actually kind of had fingers as like a combination. So regardless, I still have like hands from what I can tell.
There's probably some kind of glove you can put on over your claws that gives you a thumb.
I mean, I think I have an actual thumb, so I'm just,
kind of like an oven mitt.
It's like from My Hero Academia with all mine, and just constantly thumbs up at people, like, don't worry, I'm here. And then that's pretty much, I'm practicing.
This is the only gesture I can make.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
I'll
so
break
the
everything
litigator.
if I move. Sorry.
Pattern shaped in the fur from Quincy. I like that suggestion. Oh, it's kind of just like scarification, but he's just shaving little pictures into his fur. And they are all pictures of your wrestling moves, right? They're all pictures of you smashing dudes into tables and chairs.
I also have like a cross out of how many matches I've won, and so far there's nothing. But I made an area. I made an area on my back.
That says
so
victories.
Wait, you threw me through a table and you didn't even win that match?
I did. I don't count warm-ups as wins.
Oh my god.
Oh no, the heel is even angrier than before. You guys are going to regret this later. You're probably not. Andrew, tell us what the litigator is doing while he's watching Bear Drill's pose and Malscripcion be very suspicious in the corner, and the Hieronomo Jones just obviously being the nicest guy in the whole world. What are you doing? What's the litigator doing?
So the litigator has two important priorities pre-match. Number one, I just got done with, which is going out into the lobby and making sure that the merch booth is stocked. That's where my mother and my grandma are out there selling autographed photos of me, sunglasses that match mine, T-shirts with my face on them, and all of those. As I believe, did I mention earlier? Well, they all come with a free consultation for your personal injury case.
Oh, okay. And I can imagine. Ooh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Sure,
are your sunglasses like is it like normal sunglasses, or is there like one more like eye section on the top?
They absolutely have three eye thing. What do you call them? Frames, I guess. Yeah, frames.
Lenses.
They all have rhinestones on them because that's how you make sunglasses classy.
Well, yeah.
And lightning bolts on them.
You got the bling.
So yeah, rhinestones, lightning bolts, and 3 eye lens frames on the glasses. even though, most of the species buying these things don't have 3 eyes, but they're buying them to look like me. They're not buying them because they're functional. And in fact, they're not functional. You can barely see through them.
So basically, your grandmother and mother are selling the equivalent of elf ears at a Renfest.
100%, yes.
And I can imagine that your grandmother and mother have got the business spiel down and are trying to recruit customers for you and clients.
They do, yes. It should also be mentioned that my mother and grandmother both look exactly like me, except imagine my mother is wearing a blonde wig, and my grandmother is wearing her hair in curlers.
Oh, she hasn't even taken the curlers out. Okay. She wants it to be very clear that she is your grandmother.
She's got a date after the show.
Oh, well, it's important to look nice, and it's difficult to keep up an appearance in a sweaty arena where your grandson is pretending. I mean, being a totally real, legitimate wrestler.
Yeah, and it's so dry on Akiton, it frizzes her hair right out.
That totally makes sense.
Can I vote to spend some money? Because I don't want the litigator to know that I'm around. So when I see that he's done visiting his booth and everything else, and he kind of goes off to go, meet whatever fans that if he has any, and I want to basically go to his booth, and I want to try to secretly buy a pre-autographed picture of him. So I just give his grandma I insert a credit stick to the thing and buy it from his grandma. I'm like, don't let him know.
You're a secret fanboy, is that what it is?
I don't need him to know I'm a huge fan.
You've got posters in your bedroom.
Nothing says disguise quite like a giant bear walking up to.
I have a trench coat on and the 3 lens sunglasses on that I bought last year.
I can imagine that nothing is more inconspicuous than a massive bear in a trench coat and sunglasses who is also one of the wrestlers going out to the merch table with the rest of the crowd.
They'll never know.
I'm picturing a bear in a trench coat, pulled over his head, but with a human in the trench coat with their head poking out through the top.
It's exactly a large match than human.
Did you just grab a random person and stick them on your shoulders?
Yeah, that's right.
Disguise yourself as 16 Skittermanders in a trench coat.
Yeah, no,
just
I
go
have
with
Skittermander helping me out.
All right. So while you guys are working out what you're gonna do, hyping yourself up for the match, brooding as John's character over there, Malscripcion, does, buying things from the merch table, interacting with fans, secretly buying things from the merch table, grabbing people to put on your shoulders so that you can buy things undetected from the merch table. You all hear the double doors to the green room open, and these double doors are close to where your tokens are on the map. They are really the only thing separating you from the entryway tunnel that then leads out into the main stadium, which you can see in front of you. All of you have a little bit of an idea of the layout because you've been told and you saw it before it was set up, but you don't know exactly what is out there for the show. You hear those doors open. You can hear the roar of the crowd outside going on as the final match is wrapping up, and the commissioner, who is that android with mismatched facial plates and one eye that is a little bit bigger than the other, walks in and the commissioner a little bit personally. You know that he's very young and he's very excited and he's very into things, but he doesn't quite know how to put together a real slick production. So he's very excited about this opportunity for the league to get a major sponsor, and he wants everything to go perfectly for this, and he's counting on you guys. So he walks in, the doors swing open, he shouts as loud as he can, my stars, my babies, my wrestlers, come over here to me. It's just about time for the main event, and I'm expecting you all out there to give the best show of your lives. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
It's gonna be great.
I do a giant bear roar, hoping to intimidate him.
And he just kind of steps back and goes, oh, Bear Drills, save it for the ring. That's exactly the type of energy that I want. All of you, I expect you to give the performances of your lives. Your intro music is about to play. You are each about to go out there. I want you to pump that crowd up as high as you can and give as much of your performance abilities as you can and prove to the galaxy and to the packed world what extreme wrestling is all about. Are you ready?
Yeah.
With the delay, because it's the internet. Yeah.
And the internet. So as that happens, you hear the crowd come to a little bit of a hush, and there is a rising pounding of bass music, and you can hear a womp 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 sound coming, and all of a sudden you hear the crowd starting to chant thunder, thunder, thunder. And the Litigator, you recognize that as your bootleg ripped off theme song, which is from potentially a major band, but is creatively distinct so as to not infringe copyright.
Yeah, it's BCEC's Lightning Struck.
That's right. Why the crowd continues to insist on chanting thunder is not your responsibility. You have covered all of your bases legally, right, Litigator?
Exactly.
I don't
All
have
right,
copyrighted
They can't
music
sue
from
all of them.
Sirenscape, but I do have some music on Sirenscape. Sadly, not thunder.
All right, so chat has just noticed that my cat has jumped onto the that my cat has jumped up onto my table, and so that means that Litigator, you are going to go out to your introduction music, and you're going to tell me what you are doing to pump the crowd up, and I'm going to have you make a skill check depending on what it is that you're doing, but in some way in that introduction, you have got to work a spinning leg sweep takedown. This is the random wrestling move generator into your intro. Go for it, Litigator. What are you doing to pump the crowd out as you run out from the table, or as you run out from the tunnel?
So first, he'll turn to everybody else in the green room and say, "That's my cue. See you out in the ring." And then he goes outside, and as he runs out, he does sort of he puts his sunglasses on, puts his big flashy robe. I described earlier, or did I? No. He wears a unitard with a screen print of the suit that he wears in court, and underneath that is a T-shirt of his own face. Much like the T-shirts that you can buy out in the merch booth right now. He's also wearing his sunglasses, his robe. So as he goes out there, he's going to throw his robe off, raise the sunglasses, spin around, wink at the crowd, and do the finger guns on Thunderstruck, and shoot lightning bolts out of his fingers.
The crowd is just screaming. You mean lightning fingers, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Distinct.
sorry. Yes, lightning struck. On that classic line, he will shoot lightning out of his finger guns.
Oh, right.
And then he'll try and do a little spin. What was the name of the actual kick?
Oh, the name of the actual kick was... it was the spinning leg sweep takedown.
Okay, so the spinning leg sweep takedown, a signature move that he's never actually done before, but has been practicing in the mirror at home. He will do that as the action that he takes his robe off too. So as he drops the robe, he kind of balls it into a ball, drops it, and then does the spinning kick to kick it into the crowd where somebody can catch it.
Oh, awesome. So are you good at this sort of thing, or are you just kind of faking it? Are you just trying to convince them that you have got all of your moves in place where maybe you haven't quite practiced how you should have?
I mean, I've never done it before, so let's find out.
All right, so this is a bluff check, Litigator. Make a bluff check to see how much the crowd buys your antics here.
All right, here we go. Not great.
All right.
Before anything, one of the things I wanted to touch on, if that's okay, don't interrupt real quick, Amanda.
Sure,
is
please.
pretty much how you guys in chat can try to help interact with us. Is to where right now Twitch has a system called channel points, by the way, to where you can basically spend your channel points that you auto-generate just by basically watching the stream, and I think subscribers also get more channel points and everything else, that you guys can help poor Litigator basically re-roll things. So right now, basically, one of the things you can do is that you can use those points to buy pretty much re-rolls pretty much for all of us. And just as an example, say for example on Jason Tondro's character, you now see a point on top of his character. You can contribute your channel points to get them up to 3 of those re-rolls. So whenever a situation like this happens and you can help them out, you can basically help give them some rerolls. So pretty much in the system, you can go to channel points thing, bottom of the chat page there, click the channel points button, and then you can try to redeem your points for it. Be sure to put what character you're redeeming it for, so we know which one you're giving the reroll to. And so with that, unfortunately, you have no points. Chat has not helped you out yet. Good.
Peyton, Love of Potato, has an absolutely heinous suggestion. They want to know, can they buy disadvantage to make it harder for our PCs as they're trying to do these events?
Oh, please, yes. Please let it happen.
Dear Game Master.
Can they buy suck points? Peyton, can they buy suck points?
We do have a rune point system. Which is also going. This is the same system we're going to be using for basically the Pathfinder stream as well. So Amanda, if you want that, they can use ruin points to give to you. So you can just spend that ruin point to say, nope, you got to re-roll that.
Oh, chat, what do we think? Do we want to give them ruin points? Do we want to make our wrestlers look even more janky than they already do?
So those ruin points, you can do whatever you want. And see, you just got a point. So Litigator, you now have 1.
All right.
Wait, is that a ruin point?
And Amanda now has a ruin point. I don't have points
All
for them
right.
right now.
I see at least
Amanda's
3
got
people in
1.
chat who want me to ruin them. So you know what, y'all?
I'm fine with my very first action in the game being a miserable failure, so let's roll with that.
All right. So what did you get, a total of an 11 or something like that?
Yes.
All right. So
Which
you're
means I
spending-
probably did successfully connect with the thing, but everything else.
You did at least manage to kick the helmet, but unfortunately, as you did so, you clearly have not done this very many times, and you're clearly not used to this size of a crowd surrounding your performance area, and so the thing just kind of goes a few feet toward the crowd and bounces, and just very gently jumps up to an elderly lady who is in the crowd, who picks it up, stares at you, starts laughing hysterically, and points and just goes, "You're the worst wrestler. This is gonna be great. I can't wait to see you get your face slammed into the ground." And all of the crowd, instead of cheering and screaming, they all just start pointing and laughing.
Oh,
That's
your mother
fine. I
must
could
feel
roll with
so
that. No, she's definitely one of them.
bad.
Try harder, son.
All right, so that's the litigator coming out. Okay, so litigator, I will have you move your token into the ring because you've been instructed to go into the ring as you guys come out of your introductions. So go ahead and move your token for me into the ring. And while you do that, Hieronomo Jones, you hear the crowd just starting to chant as your face is being plastered up on the vid screens around this makeshift little stadium. And they're saying, Hieronomo, Hieronomo, and it is your turn to go out and rile the crowd up. How are you going to do that?
Well, first I will wish all the remaining wrestlers good luck, and I give them all a thumbs up, every one of them. And then I run out to the crowd, and he's wearing it looks like sort of this super expensive sort of glitzy club outfit. He looks like he's dressed for a party at some millionaire's house.
But all the rhinestones are clearly fake.
Yeah, well, it looks pretty fancy, and Kasatha had these ridiculous clothing with lots of robes and ribbons, and everything is super ornate. And of course, he has his mask on because he always has his mask on. And he looks like he's sort of dressed for a fancy dress party, and he's waving to the crowd and holding his arms up and summons his solar staff out of the air that's glowing with this brilliant golden light, and he's surrounded by these sort of Kirby dots of crackling energy that pop off of his staff and float away and crackle and sizzle. And then as he's spinning around to the music in the crowd, he grabs his fancy dress outfit with 2 of his hands and just tears it off. And as he tears it, it vanishes. It looks like it sort of disappears to reveal underneath his skin-tight white spandex wrestling outfit, which with gold trim. And this is all.
Oh, that is over the top. I love it.
This is reconfigurable clothing, one of those beautiful things we invented for, I think, armory or anything. So he's got one suit of clothes that can turn into 5 different suits of clothing. So that's what he does.
All right. So it sounds like you are trying to appeal to the crowd. You're kind of glad handing them and saying,
Sure.
look at this beautiful fancy exterior that I'm presenting. That sounds to me like a diplomacy check.
Well, if only I had put points in that skill. Okay.
It's a charisma check then, son.
I got a 17.
All right, so the crowd is not used to your formal wear attire. Not only are they not used to that, but they are certainly not used to the breakaway clothes that you have pulled out here. And as I'm assuming that you're pumping your fist back and forth, all 4 of them, with all of your tattoos and showing the crowd the various tattoos that are on your fist and screaming out peace, honor, truth, and
each
justice and all that stuff.
They all have 5 letters. Get them right. So then
They all have.
as each word sort of gets shouted, it has a physical pose. So like there's the valor pose and the truth pose and so on, right? So anyway.
All right. So as you're striking all of these very recognizable poses that all of your fans know about, they are mimicking you. They are so into your introduction. You are gonna get a +1 for your initiative. You are just riled up and you're ready for this fight, Hieronomo Jones.
Next.
All right, La Malscripcion, what are you doing? Well, you see how happy the crowd is, how excited, and how much they are behind Hieronomo. What are you gonna do as your introduction music is starting to play, and it sounds like a very much like a villainous sort of theme, like a dun 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 dun. Legally distinct.
Why you making me change music 5 times a second, Amanda's?
Malscripcion has always struggled because, like, she gave them this awesome heavy percussion, like, subwoofer sort of introduction song, but our ramshackle arena's sound system is never capable of doing it, so it always gets that, like, subwoofer rattle and uncomfortable distortion going on and never quite comes out right. Speaking of not quite coming out right, Malscripcion is going to do her usual scuttle slither out. She's wearing her shiny satin purple robe with a over-large hood that she can just barely fit over her head that never quite came out tailored quickly. But she'll throw that back and reveal her outfit, which usually Embrees don't really need to wear much of anything, but she has this collection of white, black, and purple sashes, which she thinks look really stunning, but she has also learned only give all of her opponents a whole lot of stuff to hold on to and hurl her across the arena. That doesn't really matter, though, because she had, before coming out, replaced her normal, very plain, everyday business mask with her luchador mask, which has sort of a scowling, toothed face on it, and it's all purple and black and white. Looks very fearsome, and she does not have the skills to back this up, but she tries to be all fearsome like Bear Drillz, and be sinister and give a good performance.
All right.
I'm going to try for some intimidation.
All right, so you're...
I get to subtract a number from this one.
Woohoo! All right. So you're scuttling out in front of the crowd, and the crowd sees you, and they see your luchador mask, very distinctive, and they're remembering all of the times where you've lost and you've fought dirty, and you've not been a good combatant, and so they're just going to start out by going, boo! Boo! Malscripcion! Boo! Boo! As somebody screams.
You just wait! I'm going to tear him down! You give me one I'll shred all the opposition. They always fight dirty. I'll fight dirtier to bring home the title. You don't respect me. Bah!
You can hear the announcer. You can hear the kiddo announcer shouting out to the crowd, saying like, "Is this any way to treat an extreme wrestler? This heel has injection appeal. Come on!" As everybody's booing loudly. What have you rolled for your intimidate?
I got a 14, which is way above my standards.
So something about that brand new mask that you've got there, La Malscripcion, the crowd is actually starting to change from jeering to sort of like quieting down. They're starting to actually look at you with a little bit of respect as they're all elbowing each other, pointing and kind of whispering and starting to draw themselves back in their seats a little bit. They think that you might have got some new moves for this match.
Yeah, you just
got something up your sleeve.
You just wait. This is going to be the show that puts me on the map and splatters Hieronomo Jones across the pavement.
Oh, right. So, oh no, Hieronomo, you've been called out. Are you pointing at Hieronomo?
I'd like y'all to know that Windows Defender told me that my computer is clear, along with all the weapons that we don't have.
Oh, woo. All right. So, La Malscripcion, please move your token into the ring, and Hieronomo, your token should also be moved into the ring. La Malscripcion, for that intimidate check, I am going to give you a +2 to your next combat maneuver attempt. As you are bolstered by the crowd actually buying into your shtick here.
Oh, good. I really need that bonus, because if you see my stats, I am not good at this.
Well, you know what? Every little bit helps, and chat could always make sure that something goes terribly wrong for you anyway, so we still might have poor choices made. All right, so Malscripcion, as you make your way into the ring, all of you, as you do your intro, should be into the ring that is within that blue box there on the map. We've got one more wrestler who still needs to be introduced. Keep in mind that though the crowd has been told and has been advertised that Brandy Brutal is going to be at some point coming into this match, you're realizing that any kind of introduction has not yet been set up. So you're not sure if and when they are going to come, if they've even pulled out of the match at all. You're not sure, but you are focusing on your own introductions. And as the crowd is coming down to a hush, becoming intimidated by La Malscripcion's display of villainy, there is all of a sudden over that creaky loudspeaker some static, and then a massive bear roar. As Bear Drills, you're being summoned from the green room into the arena. Bear Drills, how are you going to try to work the crowd up?
I assumed like I kind of back up into kind of like the hallway, like that football arena hallway, just like, all right, it's game time, boys. And I basically just charge right in before the gate even opens. I smash through it as loud as, like as hard as I can, just make a massive roar through it. And I go, have no fear, the drill is here. And I basically do like a massive thumbs up and begin flexing, trying to showboat as much as I can, and just like, and just making sure to kind of show off my massive muscularity. And I'm hoping that some of the credits that I slipped in with a couple people are going drills, 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 which I'm hoping. And I want to use basically my athletics to basically try to rile up the crowd. And I got a 22 as a result.
All right, so you are just displaying unprecedented skill and your muscles, and you're flexing those biceps, which totally have pictures shaven into the hair, right? That's what we decided in the back.
Yeah,
that's what you were doing.
I love Mom, I love my people, and I love my fans. And I yell that out loud as I present each of the shaved, pretty much drawings.
All right, so as you're doing that, the crowd is following everything that you're doing. They're hanging on every word that you're saying, every growl that is coming out of your earth sign mouth, and they're chanting, bear, 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 drills along with you. You have got them in the palm of your palm, my friend. And so this is going to earn you 2 temporary hit points.
Yeah! Add that to my character sheet.
That's right, as you feel like you could accomplish anything with the crowd on your side. So all of you now...
And then, bam, right there. In which, I need to set up my stuff as you continue.
All right, so everybody should be in the ring now as you have ended your introductions by jumping and clawing or skittering your way into the ring if you are La Malscripcion. And there is a little halfling who is in a referee's outfit. They managed to get her a clean referee's outfit, which is probably saying something because normally the outfits are just covered in all sorts of blood sometimes. Or oil slicks or whatever it is that has been used in all of these rough and tumble, very down low type of matches. You're all in the ring and you've got the referee who is in the middle. The crowd is all like trying to keep hushed, but you can tell that they're all very excited. And she's gonna look at each one of you while you're in the ring. And just say, all right, you know what this is. You've been told what this is. You're going to do well by us, aren't you? Make it extreme. It's a free-for-all. No holds barred. Use anything at your disposal. There are chairs. And she points to this side of the arena.
Chairs.
There's a table. She points over to the table that is on the area I indicated. There is a ladder that you can climb up and you can dive bomb onto your opponents if you wish. Use anything at your disposal. There are racks of weapons that you can use. But, and she gets very quiet, try not to hurt anybody. Too bad. We still have later shows to do, and we don't have a lot of money to help people get healed. All right, like I said, no holds barred. And she also points over to the, over here, the pillar where I'm indicating, which is the only thing on the map that is actually a high-rising pillar. It's for scaffolding and hanging off banners and things like that. Everything else is inset into the ground because we are top-down looking on this map. And so as she's pointing out everything, she is going to point to all of you and indicate that, are you ready? Wrestlers, are you ready?
Yeah!
Crowd extreme crowd, are you ready? And the crowd goes, "Rah!"
Insert crowd sound effect that I wish I had.
So she goes, all right, combatants, 3, 2, 1, extreme! And there's a bell, ding, 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 that sounds. So now all of you need to roll initiative, as you are all free-for-all wrestling.
Remember, click your token and then click initiative. There you go.
At this point, there is nobody else in the arena except for the crowd and yourselves. I'm gonna open the turn order here.
Wow, you got a natural 20, Litigator.
Well, when it counts. I just lowered the bar. Now the expectations are super low, so everything I do will seem that much more impressive.
Did I also see La Malscripcion roll a 20 as well, or is that a unmodified
Oh yeah, absolutely.
20? Oh, La
Total 20,
Malscripcion.
Total 20.
All right. So is that everybody who's rolled? Let's see. Are we missing anybody?
I
Jake.
think we got us all. Jay, he rolled it too. You can probably insert him in there and stuff.
Yes, I will go ahead and do that. I will go ahead and add turn for Jake. Hieronomo Jones, you got a 2, right?
Technically, it's a 3 because of my +1 bonus, but it don't
That's
matter.
right.
I'm still led.
All right, so we're gonna start here.
Grooving
All
in the
right.
last lane.
The Litigator, you have got to jump on everybody as the crowd is starting to scream for you as they see you start to take off. What are you going to do, Litigator? And I will remind everybody at the beginning of this combat that we do have what the ref pointed out, which are the chairs. Those are folding chairs right there. We've got a table that you could flip somebody onto. These racks that are here, these are mostly 2x4s covered in barbed wire, but there are a couple of kendo sticks covered in barbed wire. There's a couple of baseball bats. Those are all things that can be used. And then there's a ladder that can be climbed that goes about 5 feet above the top of the ropes, and the pillar can also be climbed. I will also point out that Bear Drills has a climb speed. So with all of that in mind, Litigator, what are you going to do?
So the Litigator will turn to face Hieronomo Jones,
Yes.
and with a smile and sort of a snap, point his fingers at him, he will turn the 10-foot space of the ground between him and Hieronomo Jones into a field of writhing eels.
Nice.
Oh my.
All right.
So that is now difficult terrain.
All right. So let's see. Which can you ping on the map which square it is that you're making difficult terrain?
I guess pretty much the 4 squares, pretty much like right.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to. Yeah, it's the spot in the middle of those 4 squares, right in between me and Hieronomo. Yep.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Sure, these squares right
So
here.
right here. That's where all your eels are writhing. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Litigator, that is a nasty, underhanded, illegal move. Distinctly, even perhaps illegal.
I love it.
And then I will wink
Illegal.
You
obnoxiously.
get out of here, Compton.
You're fired. All right. Anything else that you're gonna do, Litigator?
I still have a move action left. So as that move action, I will wink obnoxiously at Hieronomo and showboat for the crowd, which is a
Alright.
demoralize attempt.
All right. All right. So are you trying to demoralize Hieronomo?
I am.
All right. Go ahead and roll your intimidate.
All right. Get that here.
Intimidate. 6.
It's not that scary.
Hieronomo, you think that the Litigator just looks like an idiot.
Well, I
mean,
try and play it up a little bit. Like I want to I look surprised and shocked at the appearance of a 10-foot by 10-foot pit of shrieking eels. But then I bravely look ready to jump over it or something ridiculously foolish.
I appreciate how out in the crowd, like his mother's probably saying, "Oh, that's exactly how fierce he was when he was being potty trained."
Definitely.
She's finally being vindicated and realizing what a hellion her child was. Tehwas, all right, La Malscripcion, you are up. What are you going to do to try to get the upper hand on your opponents?
She pulls up the ropes to start stepping in and is just locking eyes with Hieronomo, being like, looks like you're all blocked in, Hieronomo. And because he's still sort of getting used to the bell has rung and doesn't even know that the action started yet, she's going to rush on up and see about giving him a preliminary push into the ropes and possibly even over the side into whatever that column is behind.
All right, so are you trying to bull rush? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's right. I call it the compress and elevate.
The compress and elevate. Oh, that medical terminology coming to bite Hieronomo. Roll it for me.
That's right. So I am not going to use my I guess I get my +2 bonus on this. This is against a Hieronomo. So, oh yeah, I bounce off a Kasatha.
So you roll a 4 for your attempt to bull rush.
It's a total of 6. Yes.
All right, so Hieronomo is just kind of standing there, and Hieronomo, are you puffing your chest out and continuing to flex and just ignoring this mollusk that is coming at you?
He just plants 2 of his hands on Malscripcion's face mask and just holds her away like a little kid.
I'll get you. I'll get you.
I'll get you one day, Hieronomo Jones.
And that's all of my turn.
Bear Drills, you just, that's your whole turn, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Bear Drills, you just see those 2 opponents kind of pathetically flailing at each other, but you know that the bear has come to call. What are you going to do in your turn?
Cool. I want to do one thing just to make sure I'm going to do this right. Can I, with my ultimate climb speed, can I potentially climb up to here and then leap off into this direction, pretty much just trying to come down, unfortunately, this one. It pretty much is a down strike.
So what you can do is you've got a 20-foot climb speed on that uplifted bear, right? So
Yes.
you can get up there. You can climb up 20 feet. That will be 1 move action. Actually, because you're 5 feet away, you can climb up 15 feet. So you can get 15 feet up in the air, and then you can use another move action to shift yourself over to the corner if you want to be able to jump off next turn.
But I gotta get the strike in now. So
Okay, so if you move sideways and then go up 15 feet, you can jump sideways on them, but you're going to land like half in the ring and half out of the ring, and you might fall over.
Let's try this instead. I'm just gonna go 1, and then kind of shift over this way, and I'm pretty much just presented to him like, "Hello, contestant. You now face majestic muscle, unlimited power." And then I will now slam down on eeny, meeny, miny, woe, the one that doesn't have a face. And I will entropic strike as hard as I can, and then shata! No more.
You're gonna have to be more.
Bam!
La Malscripcion, they are a
18.
sandwich and you're the meat.
Unlimited power, face the bear drill. As I basically move my fist in, kind of like the fingers pointed as if it's like a drill, straight into Tehwas. And that is a 18 to your EAC. I think the Entropic Strike is.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, it hits either one. Yeah, that just crumples in my face and I stagger back.
All right, so Bear Drills, you have taken folks by surprise, and the Hieronomo Jones, you see that this massive blow has been dealt to La Malscripcion, and you're pretty sure that looked like lethal damage, and you guys have been told not to do lethal damage. And La Malscripcion, you're a doctor. You definitely know what's going on. What are you guys going to do when you see this happen?
So I barely touched him, I flex.
I look over to Hieronomo like, okay, fine. It's a draw for the moment.
All right, so how much damage did you take there, La Malscripcion?
I took 9 out of my total of 13 that I could possibly take.
Oh, good lord. All right, so Cord, that was your turn. Anything else? Bear Drills, anything else?
No, sorry, no. I was trying to look up to make sure that I could do Entropic Strike as like bludgeoning damage. I didn't know it was lethal damage.
Yes, it is. You can do normal non-lethal damage with just your fist.
Yeah, but that's boring. Whatever. I have basically similar dominance. I flex, and then that's the end of my turn.
All right, so Hieronomo Jones, you're up. You are in a spot, my friend. What are you going to do in the corner?
Is the eel pit just difficult terrain, or is there...
It is difficult terrain, yes.
Okay, so it's just very colorful, difficult terrain. Okay.
Correct.
So I'm gonna start off in photon alignment mode. So he begins to accumulate golden Kirby dots that assemble around his body.
Okay. I want to see where this is going.
And then I'm gonna move through the difficult terrain. So when I leave the bear's threatened space, I probably provoke, I think.
Yep.
So the bear's going to get an attack of opportunity on me if he wants it.
Bear, are you gonna punch Hieronomo Jones?
No, I will let him go. He's like, do not worry, Bear Drills is honorable in combat until I punch you really hard. Go forth, battle!
All right, then I'll take my second move. So that's 10 feet of movement for each of those two squares. And then let's go, and then let's try, why don't you roll me one of those random wrestling moves, and we'll see what I can do to the litigator.
Oh, right.
Please get octopus grab.
Yeah, it's got to be the octopus.
There are a lot
right.
of different octopus ones.
I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is it's not octopus grip, but the good news is it's octopus chokehold.
Yes!
Oh, very good. Yes, okay, good. So he tries to get like he uses his two of his arms to try to grab the litigator, and his other two arms with the staff to pull the staff around litigator's neck.
All right, that is an octopus chokehold if I ever saw one.
Yep. Octopi are known for their staff use.
Of course, right, by scientists, totally objective scientists who don't watch wrestling.
17.
All right, is that going to hit? So what exactly are you doing there? Are you doing a combat maneuver?
Yeah, well, he's using his solar staff to do damage. He's just
okay. Okay.
Fancy description for a solar staff attack.
All right,
Yep,
so
that will hit either one of my ACs.
All right, well then it will be 8 plus 1 damage from my being in photon mode, so that's 9 damage, and that's all non-lethal.
all right.
That's a lot.
But one of it is electricity. Are you electricity resistant, Mr.?
I am electricity resistant.
Okay, you take 1 less damage because so you only take 8 instead of 9.
Okay, so it hurts a lot instead of a super lot.
I'm putting you gently to sleep.
Just go to sleep. Just go to sleep. Just go to sleep.
Only dreams.
I feel like that is the nicest wrestling move that is possible, which seems very much in the character of Hieronomo Jones, Jake.
I'm adding octopus grip to my list of wrestling moves now.
That's right. Oh, and that is a move that you don't break out very often. So as you're doing that, and as the litigator is struggling to try to get away from you, the crowd is just, octopus, octopus, and they're just screaming, going, yeah, squeeze him harder. And the litigator, the tide has turned against you. The crowd is clearly on Hieronomo's side now. What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The crowd was against me from the moment I came out after I flubbed that robe kick. But that's okay, because I'm not here for me. I'm here for them.
They loved to laugh at you before, whereas now they're just really making fun of you. Now they're just very much expecting you to get your butt kicked.
So let's see. Using my ability to see electricity, are there any devices, electrical devices on Hieronomo's person?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, his electron crystal, and he's got a soulfire fusion on his staff. Those are I think, technological.
All right. Well,
he's wearing second skin armor. Yeah.
As long as you're holding or in contact with something that uses electricity, I can make a melee attack against you and try to overcharge it.
Do it.
Oh, no, you're going to try to overcharge.
Let's make it happen.
Oh, so you're just reaching out and trying to shock those devices that are on Hieronomo's person?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yep, that's par for the course. You know what? I'm going to spend my point. I want to do that again.
All right, go for it.
There might not be another chance.
Oh, no.
Hey, you know what? It was worth it.
You managed to hear You manage to hear between the screams and the jeering of the crowd, the announcer's voice, the kiddo's voice booming through the loudspeaker and say, well, that was rather shocking, as the crowd just goes, oh, from the terrible pun. You boo from the crowd. You just look up in the announcer's box and shake your head and just, oh, you know that they can do better than that. Sometimes this league very much reveals itself for the low rent job that it is. All right, so Tehwas.
Sirenscape exploded.
Oh no, Sirenscape exploded.
Sorry, chat.
So, do you need a moment to get that up?
No, you're
or
good.
should
Keep
we
going.
keep going?
I got it.
All right. So Tehwas, you're seeing all of this struggling going on, and the combatants have seemed to move away from you, although you are not feeling great. I am going to have you make a perception check as you're sort of doubling yourself over, having taken some damage from the last bear drill. Make me a perception check before you take your turn.
Ow. 21.
All right, so while you're leaning down and you've got that pain kind of in your side, that stabbing pain, and you're trying to collect your thoughts and figure out what it is that you're going to do to affect this event, you see that that pillar that is right beside the arena here. Let's see if I can ping here.
Is this
So
the
that
yellow and black
pillar,
one?
yeah, so that pillar that's right there, that's got just rods and scaffolding and banners kind of hanging off of it with the logo for the Brawl for All event. You see that what looks like some sort of figure that has been crawling and climbing up that pillar, potentially maybe having come from the other side while you guys couldn't see. And it looks like they're trying to position themselves in some scaffolding that is hanging over the ring.
Oh gosh. All right, so we have a fifth contestant here.
Yeah, you're not sure who it is, but you see that there might be the outline of some kind of horns on their head. It's really rather strange. And at this point, I'm going to let Tehwas take their turn.
Okay.
I should mention, actually, before you go, that is no longer difficult terrain. The pocket of reality that I briefly swapped with the alternate universe where this building is an eel farm has gone back to what it normally is.
All right. Oops, I cleared off the ring. My bad. Sorry about that.
We know
Damn
where
your
the
witch
ring
warper
is.
powers.
The ring is in our hearts and will always be there.
There it is. It's back. It's purple now. Man, Witch Warper, you change reality so much that the ring changes color. That's pretty good.
It's what I do.
That's what you do.
So Tehwas had basically, had looked to Hieronomo Jones and been like, we call a truce so we can team up on this guy. Had heard Hieronomo say, you betcha. And then Hieronomo goes off to fight somebody else. So clearly, the boneheaded hero is doing boneheaded hero stuff again. So Tehwas is going to see about scooching a little bit over to one side, take a guarded step, and is going to do so in a way that's sort of, dragging herself along as though she's clearly suffering from this terrible hit that was done. And while she's doing so, she's sort of looking up toward that west part of the arena, which is sort of hidden from where Bear Drills is, and is sort of looking up there slyly and is pulling out a syringe and kind of giving the stage wink equivalent before she turns around and stabs it into his leg, because that's all she can reach.
Did you just stab Bear Drills with an injection, Tehwas?
Well, I'm trying to. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, that's an 8.
Nope.
I don't think that your injection penetrates his bear hide. I don't know, Bear Drills. Does that just feel like a bee sting to you?
No, I see it and it's like, no, stop. I just kick the injection away. Like, stop that.
Oh, hey. Oh.
You'll just point meaningfully, shake your head like you're disappointed, and say, no.
Bear Drills says no the drugs. Bear Drills is responsible. And I flex.
Oh, La Malscripcion, you've just been called a drug dealer. Oh, the crowd is loving this, but they're hating you, unfortunately.
This is like the 280s all over again with the DARE program. Oh, no, I look down that chain. All right, that's my turn.
All right, so Bear Drills, the idea that you had before, which was to do the bear drill, that is something that you could potentially do this turn if you want to use your climb speed to climb up that pillar and try to jump onto the ring. You can do that.
I want to do this.
I have, of course, also not told Bear Drills about the person looking in that column.
Yeah, I obviously do not know. So I assume the pillar up top, right? This one up here?
No, it's the pillar down,
down below.
you.
Right.
Yeah, that one right there. Yep.
So I hop onto it and I go, muscular entrance, and then I basically leap on over, which I assume I can only get to that. Do I need to do a roll for a leap, or just go, whoop-ah?
Why don't you make me an athletics check?
Oh, I was hoping you'd just say, don't worry about it, you just win. And athletics checks go! I made a 13.
All right, so
That
you are able
seems
to...
wrong, but actually that is supposed to be a +5. Something went wrong there, so it is a 15 technically.
All right, so you are actually... Bear Drills, how are you able to be so graceful with a giant undulating ball of bear flesh that you are? You have jumped into the ring from the side of the pillar gracefully like a ballerina, and you have landed on your feet in a superhero pose as your fist punches down into the floor of the wrestling ring.
It's pretty
You can
much
also
that leaping
ride a
off, doing like a
unicycle.
spin, like a ballerina spin, but I try to do it so fast so I look like a flying drill. And then I do the superhero landing right into the ring, just shaking all of it and go like, it's showtime! And I get ready to charge, but I assume I used all my actions to do that currently, so then my turn is over.
Yep, so that is your turn. All right, Bear Drills, you have made quite the entrance into the ring. And Bear Drills, as soon as you do that, Malscripcion, you have got your eye on this other figure that has made its way up the pillar and is hanging probably about, 40, 50 feet, we'll say 50 feet, into the scaffolding onto the rod that is holding the banner advertising this event from afar to the distance and adding in a little bit of atmosphere to this large promotion. What you guys see is all of a sudden that pillar, you see like things starting to kind of rain down, and it looks like slabs of beef. It's really strange. It looks like uncooked steaks, and they're just plop, plop, plop landing into the ring down there. So what all are you gonna do while you do this?
Oh, I didn't know this was theme night. Okay, this is different.
I'm immediately
All
sniffing
right.
around, looking at the meat, kind of distracted, like, no, the fight is now, not lunch.
Bear Drills, you get so hungry that the sound of your growling stomach can be heard even over the screams of the crowd, just as you look up, and it is this thunderous growling noise. And while
Everyone
you're all
starts
trying
to
to...
look like food.
That's right, everybody starts to look like food, their faces melt off, and it just looks like steak with butter on it, various herbs. You're a very cultured bear, from what I understand.
Okay, so I'm looking around what everyone else is doing.
All right, so you all are looking around. You're very confused as to what's going on, and the crowd has not even really noticed that this is happening yet. But what they can't ignore is that the loudspeakers, where the announcer has been calling out the action and making little quips and puns and jokes about what's happening, the loudspeakers start to crackle, and it cuts off. The voice of the announcer cuts off. And what you hear is just kind of this type of noise, and it's clearly it's very kind of like faint, and then it's getting louder. Malscripcion, yeah, you can now see that the person that you've noticed crawling up on the scaffolding is standing up and peering down into the ring. Are you going to point this out to your fellow wrestlers?
I will happily just point up silently into the scaffolding and especially looking meaningfully at them so that they can stop their silly antics of strangling each other with summoned Solarian stabs.
Do you have extremities of any kind?
I do. Embreys seem to have almost like long raptorial mantis-style arms. Whether or not I have fingers is a real big question, but apparently I'm a surgeon, so
He's got like spider legs in a way, but they're pointy.
All right. Well, that's good for gesturing.
All right, so while you're all taking notice that this is happening, the loudspeaker is starting to crackle, and this voice is starting to become more clear, and the clearly budget sound system is starting to kick in, and it is obvious that the sound is coming from the person who is standing up on the scaffolding. You can see that their mouth is moving, they're backlit by the lights that are at the top of this stadium, and you can see very distinctly that it is a broad-shouldered, leotard-clad wrestler with kind of like shaggy fur, covered in shaggy fur, and very distinctive bovine horns.
Noir.
Oh no.
And as Jake has identified correctly, for those of you who are familiar with a lot of the species, it is indeed a Noir. That is something that you would recognize pretty easily. You've been around the Pact Worlds and you've seen lots of different types of species. Does anybody want to, roll culture to see if they are familiar with this figure and any of the other information you've been provided?
I will try to see if I know this grade of meat. I got a 6.
Peyton, it looks like meat and you're really hungry.
I'm trained in culture.
You are trained in culture, so Hieronomo Jones, you immediately recognize this wrestler, and now it's all kicking in. Brandy Brutal is a wrestler from your childhood years, really, is when he was the most popular, but he is a Noir. He is known for his nickname called the Beefcake from the East Gate, and his entire shtick was all about throwing beef around while he pummeled his opponents, and he calls himself the Meat Tenderizer is one of his finishing moves, and he's all about brawn and intimidation and convincing everyone that he's the best. And he had some very fierce rivalries with other wrestlers within the sphere at that point. And so this is the megastar that everybody has been promised is going to make a guest appearance.
Plus, it's free steak night.
Yeah.
All right, that's right. It's free steak night. All right, so are you going to tell your fellow wrestlers about this, Hieronomo, or are you just going to keep it to yourself?
No, say his name again, something brutal?
Brandy Brutal.
Brandy Brutal, all right.
The
Brandy
beefcake
Brutal,
from the East Gate.
He points up with his fingers, if you want beef, we'll give you beef. And, but it's not my turn. So I can't go.
No, you can shout as a free action.
You can banter.
I banter as a free action.
All right. So you're all taking note, and you look up, and all of a sudden the laughter and the chuckling turns to just a primal screaming that is echoing all throughout the stadium, and all of the fans are coming to a hush as everyone is craning their necks upward and pointing up at this crazed figure who is a massive Noir, a massive bovine-like Noir, and he's going, pathetic, the beefcake has always been the best, has always been the strongest, has always been the most powerful wrestler in all of the Pact Worlds, and you puny extremers, you puny little creatures who call yourselves wrestlers think that you can stand against me, this free-for-all brawl. It would take all of you working together to bring me down, and even then, I would just be down for half of a second before I destroyed all of you. I'm gonna bring you down. I'm gonna show you what happens when I come back to all of my former glory, and then some. I am the true cream of the crop, and you are gonna regret ever crossing paths with a beefcake! And he jumps. He jumps and swan dives off of this scaffolding as if he is going to make some sort of grand entrance and some sort of just grand kind of like just destructive jump down to put Bear Drill's jump to shame. But as he's in the middle of falling down into the ring, there is a big drone that buzzes, a big flying drone. It's twice the size of the Noir, and it swoops down and it catches him in midair, and it starts wobbling back and forth as he's screaming. And this is clearly not part of the production, clearly not part of the plan, as it's wobbling off the stadium and out of the ring and taking him without any sort of way for him to mitigate this, as he's just like, let go of the beefcake, I'm the cream of the crop, let me show you that I'm the cream of the crop. And the drone is taking him away, and an entire chaos erupts as the crowd screams, and the kiddo rushes down from the media booth there where he had been announcing everything that's been going on, and points upwards and says, what is happening to my brilliant, beautiful production? What is it going to happen to my league, my star? What is happening?
I gotta tell you, kiddo, like, based on his intro spiel, it's no surprise to me that he retired.
So if he leaves the ring early, does that mean we win?
So he has been taken off, but all of this chaos is erupting, and the crowd is sort of, in some ways, like rushing down. And you all notice that some of them are starting to duck as out of the corners of your ears. You don't need to make perception checks to hear this buzzing sound, and you guys are having drones rushing at you, preventing you from leaving the ring, almost as if they're preventing you from chasing down this wrestler who has been abducted. You don't know, like, is he in on it? Who knows? But you guys have drones in your face now, and at this point we're gonna have you roll initiative again, because you're gonna have to get past these drones. Now this is a true threat. This is not something that was planned in the production. The kiddo is looking terrified. He's starting to duck underneath one of the railways over there, over by the entry tunnel.
Remember, when you roll initiative, click your token, then initiative. My bad, Amanda. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. And so yeah, the crowd is all starting to just cluster around you and beg for, you've got to stop this. You've got to help this. There's something terrible happening. We don't know what to do. And when you guys are all rolling initiative, I'm gonna throw these drones onto the map. But everybody tell me what you want to do as far as like weapons, and you can actually do it when you get to your turn, but I just want you to think about how you're going to deal with this threat. Are you going to continue to use melee attacks? Are you going to try to get a ranged weapon? These are drones that are flying down toward you, so you might want to think about how you're going to face this fight.
I want to make sure, because obviously before the fight, I obviously stashed away a gun just in case something really terrible came down and my fists cannot, punch anything up in the air. So basically, I'm going to rush over to the pill that I jumped off from, and I'd obviously have stashed pretty much a semi-auto pistol, I believe I have. And just make sure that is right. I think it is that exactly. Yeah, semi-auto pistol. And I'm pretty much going to rush over to it. Can I move my character? Is that okay? Or am I just going to plan to go there?
You'll have to plan to go there because combat has now broken out. And so we're going to be
my plan, is to rush over to that pillar and grab my pistol if I can't reach them via melee.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so I'm going to have these guys roll into the initiative order.
What is everyone else doing? What are you guys planning to do?
So Daeve will turn to the audience and say, "Grandma, I need the gun." And his grandma will throw him the pistol that he stashed in the audience earlier.
"Oh, you're such a good boy. Here's the pistol, honey."
Gosh.
Here. Just takes it out of her bag. It's like wrapped around in like a doily or whatever, and she kind of hands it over. And goes, "Hey, be sure to use the larger rounds in the magazine. Here you go, dear."
Yeah, she's got 3 other guns in that bag, but this is the only one she's going to let me use.
I appreciate that if Daeve goes down and we lose Daeve, we'll have at least 2 replacement characters already lined up.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so these drones are now rushing at you, trying to prevent you from getting into the entryway tunnel back to the green room, which would be out of the entire stadium. So this drone down here is going to go first, as it is flying toward you, Bear Drills.
Ah!
And it's going to be hovering about 10 feet above the ground, and it's going to shoot at you with its integrated pulsecaster pistol. And you can tell, you don't know too much about machinery, but you can tell that these things have clearly been programmed to try to stop you, and that there is a line of code that the drones are repeating, in a voice that is meant for you guys to hear it, and it's saying, stand down, do not follow the wrestler, stand down, fools." Why is it insulting you? I don't know, but it is going to shoot you with its pulsecaster pistol.
Because it's in a wrestling ring, it has to insult you.
Yeah, it's like stage rules. Yeah, it has to.
That'll do it.
Oh, dang.
Things.
All right, so that's going to hit you, and you are going to take some non-lethal damage there. Bear Drills.
I say no.
You are going to take 5 points of non-lethal damage. I rolled max for those of you watching at home.
I like how the robots that invaded the match are the only ones actually abiding by the rules of the match and doing non-lethal damage.
Well, they are currently doing non-lethal damage. Let's see what happens if you decide to get close to them.
That chokehold to you was non-lethal.
Didn't feel like it.
All right, so this other robot, while its compatriot over there is insisting, stand down, do not follow the wrestler, is going to move. They're right in front of you, Hieronomo Jones.
Sure.
It's going to notice that La Malscripcion doesn't necessarily seem to be a huge threat at the moment. You've been kind of doubled over.
Oh, sure, rub it in.
Yeah, and well, you know what? Sometimes things can benefit you there, La Malscripcion, which means not getting shot in the face. Hieronomo. This drone is going to take a shot at you.
It's going to provoke an attack, isn't it?
Well, it was about 10 feet up in the air.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yep.
All right. Let's
Go for it.
get my mouse to actually work over here. There we go. Okay. So, all right. So, pew, 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 pew. You are getting shot at, Hieronomo. Is an 11 going to hit your EAC?
I dodged those bullets.
All right, so you are just dancing behind those 4 tattooed fists, able to gracefully avoid the damage that it's doing, and then the drone, like just the other one, is going to be letting out that line of code and telling you to not follow the wrestler. Back down, back down. Do not threaten us. All right, so Litigator. These drones.
All right. So there's 2 of them. They're both currently outside the ring. How far apart are they from each other? Let's see. That looks like a total of about 30 feet. Is that correct?
Yep, they are 30 feet away from each other.
Perfect. That is exactly the range at which I can operate.
All right.
I will do 2 things. The first one is to show the nearest drone to me, the one directly behind Hieronomo. I will show it that I can command the power of electricity, which is its own lifeblood, in an attempt to demoralize it by doing a crackly thing with my fingers.
Okay, are you trying to demoralize the drone?
I sure am. Is that possible? I don't know.
No, not usually.
Fear is
Well, not the way I've been rolling.
However, if chat would like to make a good argument, or if any of the wrestlers would like to make a good argument.
Well, it is making it's making insults in the ring, so it's clearly been programmed to obey wrestling protocols.
Maybe it's also been programmed to feel fear. I don't know.
The other thing I see is that given that all the living targets so far have not been afraid of Daeve, perhaps it's the programmed ones that he can actually threaten.
All right, so are you gonna try to yell out some classic wrestling taunts to see if this thing recognizes that? Because, you know, if this thing has been around wrestling for a while and this programming is such that it recognizes these words being said, you might be able to command it to stop. Why don't you try to make a computer's check to see if that's what you want to do? I would say make a computer's check.
That's not something I'm good at.
Actually hurt it.
Well, all right. In that case, perhaps this is not the course of action that I want to take. Instead, I will open a portal to a dimension in which this building is filled with angry ghosts.
Go!
And
just
slap
casually.
both of these things independently with an ectoplasmic... What's this thing called? Ectoplasmic Barrage.
Ectoplasmic Barrage, all right. All right, so both of those, I see you rolled a...
So I don't know. I think it's just one attack for both.
It is. It just came. Okay, so I think it's going to be a 19 because that's your ranged attack that requires, and that is going to hit it. So you are going to hit.
So
The damage on that also it should be 2d6. I'm not sure why it's showing up as 1d3.
We can just roll 2d6.
I'll figure that out later.
Yeah. You can do the top left thing
So,
for the roller
2d6
thing.
it is.
Yep.
So Litigator, are you targeting? You're targeting just the one, correct?
Nope, I can hit 2 targets that are no more than 30 feet apart.
Okay,
Nice.
perfect. All right, so you hit, and you have done how much damage?
That looks like
9?
a total of 9 damage.
Okay.
Was it 2d6 plus anything?
Nope, just 2d6.
Nope.
Cool. Still a good amount of
All
damage.
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's great for first level. So, all right. So that ectoplasmic just flies from your fingers, and it shoots onto the drones, and it's sticky, and it starts to seep into the cracks in its metal plating for both of those drones as they start to. There's a little bit of a wisp of smoke that comes up from both of them, as you can tell they're trying to repeat their coded lines to stop resisting, stop resisting, and they're still functioning, but you can tell that you really damaged both of them quite a bit. All right, so Bear Drills,
Nice.
you've got 2 drones that are near you. Do you have a ranged weapon?
I actually have a quick question. In chat, you can help me out with this one as well if we don't know at the top of our head. How tall is a uplifted bear?
So it's a large creature.
So
Uh-huh.
in theory, he's 10 feet.
So in theory, I'm as tall as that drone is hovering, correct? Which
In
is 10
theory,
feet.
yep.
Slam it into a table.
So with that, I fear not for its hovering capabilities. Bear Drills will charge the southern drone. And with that drone
Right.
will pretty much be involved with an entropic strike of ultimate power, ultimate destruction. As I roll
right, Bear
an
Drills.
18.
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
I'm a
Bear
little
Drills.
disappointed. That ladder is right there.
Yeah.
That's the next thing. That was my kind of
All
my
right.
backup plan. Use the ladder to kind of reach up at the drone and whack it. But instead, I have done 9 points of bear drilling damage.
All right, so that ectoplasmic, so that entropic strike, the energy just engulfs your fist as you are calling out your intentions. You were going to show this drone what's up. You connect squarely with that metal plating in the front of the drone, and as it's trying to repeat its coding, your fist just connects with it, and it just goes, "Do not and there's a metallic whining sound that happens as the drone wobbles and lifts to one side and lifts to another side, and then it falls down completely non-functional. Bear Drills, you have destroyed this thing with your punch.
Reaction, I am flexing and presenting my win.
Litigator softened it up for you.
Wow.
It wasn't me. It was the ghosts.
So Bear Drills, you had to reach up to reach the thing, right? Because it was hovering above the ring. And when you punch it, it totally depowers, and so it's falling to the ground. Are you going to just let it fall, or what are you going to do there?
That sounds like a trap thing. I will see if I can grab, like, basically a limb or so.
All right, yeah, you can easily. You can easily, well, you don't need to make a check.
I like
you can
free
easily
wins.
just catch it
Let's
as
do
it
it.
falls
Yeah,
down.
waha, grab,
Yeah.
grab it.
All right, so now you've got this depowered, sparking drone in your hands.
Really, I've already done my action and my attack action, so right now I'm just holding
Yep.
it. This big, just clocks are ticking in my head, thinking what else I can do with it.
All right, so while you're holding it up, the few groups of the crowd that are still congregated around you are hoping that the drones, that you'll protect them from any other drones that come down, they all start to look up, and the fear melts out of their eyes as they connect with you, Bear Drills.
Have no
and
fear, crowd goers. Bear Drills, it's here. And I kind of like a ping, like just do a thumbs up and everything else. Like, we will protect you.
And the crowd all looks at you, and there's a little group of like halflings that are all clearly there with somebody who is taking them like as a field trip or something. They look like
halfling
they're
guardian.
not fully grown, and
Are they wearing bear onesies?
they are wearing t-shirts with Bear Drill's face on them, and they have these little gloves that are like shaped like bear paws around them, and that you noticed before the match that they were using them to kind of punch each other playfully and say, "I'm the Bear Drills. No, I'm the Bear Drills.
I shed a
I'm gonna
tear.
bear claw you."
Shed a tear.
Are they all
So
eating bear
proud.
claws that they picked up from the bakery across the street?
Well, you know, there are a little bit of crumbs around their mouths, so maybe they really did do that. So, Bear, your smallest fan club, your tiniest fans, you have just become a hero to them as they're looking up at you and with their little eyes and saying, "Thank you, Bear Drills. Thank you for saving us from the drones."
He's like, have no problem, kids. Remember, don't say no to drugs. Stay in school and devour your veggies. And then I'll turn around and rush off to the other drone.
Tehwas sort of holds up a hand to try and count the number of double negatives in that. Did they just tell them to do drugs?
Don't not do drugs, kids.
Sorry, I must have said it wrong. In my mind, it was like, bleh, don't do drugs.
Hieronomo Jones, it's going to be your turn once Bear Jones is done lecturing his fan club.
So I would totally approve. Like I would be telling them to call their milk. So it's all right. It's all good.
Hey, Jake.
I was on the spot. I got fumbled on words.
Is that thing currently in reach of you?
I don't think it is. I think it's 5 feet too far away because it's
It
hot.
is.
Do you want a lift?
What's that?
I can give you a lift if you want.
I was going to try and jump it.
I will give you better than that.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
You want to
then
stand?
I will.
You want to stand over on this part of the table?
Well, they're going to go.
Oh, please do what I think you're going to do.
Well, they're going to get to go, so I'm going to move.
Not before I do.
Oh, I thought you went. Oh, you go next? Okay.
Yeah.
Then, yes. All right. I will move onto the. Is that the right spot?
Sure is.
All right. I will move onto the table and get ready because I see it coming.
Sweet.
Oh,
I'm going to ready an attack for when I get thrown into the air.
All right, Hieronomo, perfect. So, La Malscripcion, we go to you. Sounds like you guys have something planned.
Yep, sure do. So, La Malscripcion is going to run over here and then is going to heave herself over the ropes and onto this table and try and create a seesaw catapult action to hurl Hieronomo Jones into the air.
Yep, flipping me towards the drone.
All
That's
right. All right. So we're gonna have you jump and do that. I say that since you're using your strength, that's probably gonna be an athletics check. What do you say?
Excellent.
I hope that Hieronomo's athletics is better than. So we'll see. 6, and I weigh 225 pounds.
All right. Well, the sheer it's not pretty, La Malscripcion. You just sort of flop yourself onto that table. However, you do weigh 220 pounds. So, Hieronomo, would you say that you weigh significantly less than that as a Kusatha?
Well, I'm jumping anyway, so we're gonna give it a shot.
All right.
Whether it works or not.
La Malscripcion is going to provide some momentum for you as she just flops her massive bulk onto that table.
19.
All right. 19. So you get some serious air, Hieronomo.
Can I get a swipe in before I?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Let's give it a shot.
Do it.
Right. All right. Only a 10.
Oh, so you're trying to swipe wildly as you're flying through the air. Unfortunately, you just barely misconnect solidly.
Do I have a reroll?
Chat? Does Hieronomo have a reroll?
Hieronomo does not have a reroll yet, but remember, chat, you can always spend your channel points to give us some rerolls. Currently, the only one who has it right now is the Litigator, who has 1 reroll waiting.
Okay.
I did have one that I spent. That's not the same one?
Oh, I didn't know you even spent it.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
it was easy to miss because I rolled a 3 and I spent it to replace it with a 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of your reroll then, and
I'm going to guess that I've landed somewhere around there.
Yes, that you land. We'll say you land on the other side of that drone down there.
Good try. Good try.
Such a great plan.
All right, so the drone now. It is up to the drone's turn after all of that, as it is unfazed by all of these acrobatics and athletics happening around it, and it continues to spout out that line of its programming. Do not resist. Do not follow the wrestler. Stand down. You won't be hurt. As it is going to shift over into the ring, and as it shifts over into the ring, it is also going to try to take a shot at Hieronomo.
Okay.
So Hieronomo. Oh dear, does a 21 hit your EAC, Hieronomo?
Of course, yeah, totally.
All right. So you are going to take a little bit of non-lethal damage.
Sorry about that.
That is
Those
the
are
second
given-
time I ever rolled max.
I'm giving a chat an update. I have lowered the channel point cost and everything else since people aren't generating enough. But remember, subscribers do get a little bit more points faster, but no need to if you just want to participate with the show.
Yeah. All right, great to know. So you took a little bit of non-lethal damage there as that drone is hissing and whirring and coming. It is hovering just above the wrestling ring right now, which Litigator, we're going to say that it is within the reach of you as it moves to your turn.
Oh, shocking grasp it.
I can try. Let's see, what is the range on that? Let me check real quick here.
Well, it's adjacent to you.
Oh, it's actually, it's not 10 feet in the air anymore?
It's about 5 feet above the ground, so you should be able to reach over and grab it.
Okay, I will do that. Let's try.
I'm also being reminded that I have a villain point if and when I want.
Yeah, thanks. Same team, chat.
Thank you, Lori and chat.
Didn't even need it.
Oh no! Litigator, you just stumble forward as you are noticing the sheer terror on the faces of the people in the crowd who have congregated in some clumps, and some of them are just running away, and some of them are screaming, and you see that Bear Drills is pontificating to his fan club over there. Everything is just so distracting that unfortunately your reach is not going to connect solidly enough to do anything.
Actually, someone just gave Litigator a reroll. Do you want to allow him to use that reroll right now?
Yeah, Litigator, let's say you can use that reroll.
I was going to say my purpose in this group is to make everybody else look better by comparison. But I'd also really like to slap that robot.
The Litigator's dice count as a personal injury case.
That's right.
I'll be taking this against roll 20. All right,
People
let's
versus
try
roll
it.
20. Do it, Litigator.
Let's see another roll. Litigator,
Touch it, touch it.
Yes!
Soothe them, soothe them, soothe them.
Oh yeah!
That is a
Yes.
critical hit.
That is
That
the
is a
law of
critical
averages in action, people.
All right, roll your damage on that critical, shocking grasp strike, Litigator.
Right, here we go. Let's see. That is a 4d6. So let's smack that.
Folds D6 of damage coming through. That's a lot of D6. Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God, look
more
at all
than
those
4, I
dice.
think, but still, that's 6d6, not 4d6.
Well, but he rolls it twice.
Oh, he
Oh,
does
yeah,
roll it.
no.
Yeah.
Yep, he does. Yep.
Okay. So actually, that's not enough. I need to roll another d6. So the total on that is 23. And now let's get down to another 2.
Since you're doing 4, right? Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God. So
32 points of damage. That would
32
kill me
points of
twice.
That would kill any of us.
All right, so Litigator, your magic is a little bit even more effective than you had hoped for, as you just stand there and go, and reach out, and you feel the charge coming into your hand, and you feel that you can just release it into that drone as the thing just explodes in different shocking sparks all over the place while you overload its systems and its electronics with this electricity that's coursing through you magically. The thing just explodes entirely all over the ring. It's not necessarily enough to damage you.
Hey,
Oh, dear.
sorry about that. Dogs. Sorry about that.
Ooh, dogs. All right. So I think that we need a random wrestling move because we
And
said
then they'll
dogs.
turn into the shocking grasp thing.
Well, you know what?
As the smoking shards of the drone fall to the ground behind me, I will turn to the audience, strike a pose, and so say, lightning struck.
There you go. I like that your character starts out doing that too. Starts singing thunder, realizes that he could get sued, stops, and then goes, lightning struck.
Yes, I have many pending cases against me for misusing that title.
You probably do. All right, so this random wrestling move that I've generated for you, Litigator, is entirely appropriate. It's called Paralyzing Palm Strike.
Hot damn, I'll take it.
Works great for exactly that move.
So the Paralyzing Palm Strike, how are you going to perform this smooth-ass wrestling move against this drone that has dared to stand against you and your compatriots?
Let's see. It's a palm strike, so basically I'm just gonna do a big posy kind of moving my hands around in front of it, like I'm filling them with magical energy, which I guess that I am, and then quickly, instead of casting a spell, suddenly reach out and slap it in the face.
Nice.
All right, so as you slap it in the face, just like I described before, that electricity overwhelms all of its electrical circuits. It explodes in a shower of sparks. It is going to shower Hieronomo and Tehwas, Malscripcion, over there as they stand at the bottom of the ring, just kind of looking up in awe at this paralyzing palm strike that you have performed. You guys, what are you thinking? What's going through your heads while you're watching the litigator just
Hieronomo
destroy
covers
this?
his face with two of his hands, and he's big-eyed, and as rubble just falls down over him, and then he like cheers for Litigator, like well done.
I also assume
Well
that
done.
He will continue motioning to the crowd, saying, "You're all the real heroes here." Especially that one of you that influenced my fate somehow.
I walk over to Litigator and grab one of his arms and lifts it up, and I also cheer with him, kind of presenting him, going like just like kind of like as if like he was the winner of the wrestling match, and we're just like hoping to kind of make the rest of the crowd cheer as we kind of lift him up.
You take 1d3 points of electricity damage.
I'll take it.
Sorry, it just happens when I get excited.
You just happen to explode sparks, and every once in a while you burn somebody. That's just the hazard of being your friend, right? Dang, Litigator.
Your mother and your grandmother have a lot of stories about you doing this when you were young.
Well, it's all Dorindy do it.
Well,
It's just that we have electricity resistance, so it's not a problem.
Speaking of your mother and grandmother, Litigator, the members of the crowd, everything is very chaotic. There are a few people who were watching to see what was going while they were huddling behind the pillars there. The Bear Drills had his littlest fan club that was cheering him on and are starstruck by him talking to them and striking poses for them. Many other members of the crowd have just fled the entire area, but you see your mother and grandmother running up towards you, and they flip themselves into the ring and they jump up beside you there, and as they just start huffing and puffing and huffing and puffing, and you can see that they're wearing multiple t-shirts that they had snagged from the merch stand to make sure that they didn't get stolen in the chaos, and they're both huffing and puffing and looking at you, and your grandmother and her curls awry and hanging down in a very disheveled way is going to look at you and say, "Well, I'm glad that you did kill these things that were trying to attack you and everybody else, but you know you're gonna owe me money for this hairstyle that I was trying to pull off here. I had a hot date and now it's all ruined. There's no way my hair's gonna set in time after this. I hope that you're all happy."
I'm sorry, I'll make it up to you, Grandma. But quick, hurry out in the lobby and mark up the merchandise since I just did something cool.
Oh, grandson, I do know that you are the smartest when it comes to this. I never should have doubted you. By the way, I saw a whole bunch of those fans, the fans of one of those old villains from when you were a little boy and used to watch all of that wrestling, all of the stuff where you learned all of your moves. Don't worry, I'm not telling anybody that you stole them and renamed them. Your secret is safe with me. The Skulk, I think it was.
Really loudly. We all heard it.
She's just like stage whispering, "Don't worry, wink, 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 wink. I won't tell them."
She's on the she's on the jumbotron right now.
Litigator, you're pointing it out that Grandma, you're on camera right now. So she just goes, oh, I'm so terribly, I'm so terribly sorry. And she turns her head aside, whips out a cigarette, lights it up, and starts smoking, calming herself down as she leans in towards you and whispers so that this time none of the other combatants or any members of the crowd can hear, and says, "I saw some real nasty looking individuals, fans of that there wrestling villain from when you were a little boy, the same wrestling villain who was the biggest bad guy against Brandy Brutal or whatever his face's name is over there. Skulk Shotgun? Anyway, they were all here, but he never showed up. And now they all ran out as soon as Brandy got stolen. I think there might be something going on with that."
Classic Skulk. That's why I always watched his show and had the lunchbox with his face on it.
I don't know, but he seems like not a real good guy. I always hated that move that he did. What was that? The spear where he just kind of jumped and knocked the wind out of all of his opponents. What was that? What did he always do? He stole their pants. I don't know. I don't really support that kind of dirty wrestling. You know that, right?
This escalated quickly.
It's what he does.
You're right, it's what he does, but would he really be behind? Would he really be behind Brandy taking off like that? I don't know. And then as this conversation is happening, you all see the kiddo, the commissioner of the league, running up to you, having finally been made aware that this was kind of a safe area, that there's nothing else attacking you. And he's huffing and puffing as he's showing up right behind Litigator, in between Litigator and Tehwas there. And he's not saying anything immediately, but you didn't all necessarily hear everything that the Litigator's grandmother said, but he's clearly kind of concerned about what's going on. What are you guys doing?
I didn't hear it at all, but I smelled the smoke.
We have to go after. We need that. We need him, his star power, if we're ever going to become a Zosho.
Let's be clear. We need him for one reason. That's to get him back in this ring so we can slam his back into the ground and get the full win.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The drill
course I'm
feels
not wrong.
dissatisfied with this battle, and I demand a stronger champion in which to formulate my renown and victory. We must find him to be my contestant.
Yeah, sure, okay.
All right. So the kiddo, who has just been overwhelmed by everything that's happened, is going to finally kind of just stop and steel himself as he's standing right there on the map, right there in front of you, Hieronomo, and he's hearing you all just try to bolster him and describe how it is that you need to figure out what it is that's happened. And he says, Oh, kids, I'm so happy that you seem to have everything under control here. Well, I mean, as under control as it can possibly be, with the fact that our star has just been abducted by some kind of weird robot monster things. I don't really know exactly what could be possibly going on, but that was not planned, and it looked like he was under a lot of distress. Am I hearing you say that you think that you should track him down?
Of course, we'll get him back for you. I pat him on the shoulder.
I don't believe you heard anybody say that, but I think it might be something we'd be willing to do in exchange for some top billing, perhaps, for the next month.
No, the bear drills. You said that you would go after him. I heard you distinctly, that baritone voice. Baritone.
For top billing.
You're fired.
For top.
Get out.
Yeah.
Okay,
he said it, then I added the necessary subtext. I understand.
It is true that Bear Drills would like to go off on a heroic adventure to make sure that we can finish this battle, but I gotta... rent's coming up, and I don't really have all that much money, and we're not getting paid for this, I imagine, and my armor got broke, and I broke that guy's armor, so we're gonna need some compensation.
Tell you what, can you at least validate my parking?
You have a car?
Well, it's one of those wagony things where you stick your feet through the bottom and run.
Oh, got you. You have the assisted gravitron cart.
Exactly.
The engine doesn't actually run, but you just had to Fred Flintstone it.
There's no engine.
It does. Yeah, there's no engine. There's no engine. It's like a land speeder, but it hovers.
You open up the hood where the engine would be, and it's just Tashtari puppies that are growling and making noises that sound like engines.
Look, the important thing is it has a working windshield.
Somebody took the hover
Does it
engine
really,
while it was parked
though?
and put it up on block.
Do we have any idea who took this guy? Where those drones came from? Anybody spot what direction the drones went in? We need a lead.
All right, so it sounds like you are on board, and we can work out all of the details later. But are you guys wanting to try to convince him to pay as much money as he has? Basically, he's got a very small amount of money left over and some money in his personal purse that he would normally use to, spend on costs for the promotion or things like that. If you want to convince him to pay you pretty much everything that he's got that hasn't been put into this event, you can roll a diplomacy check to try to do that before we continue.
Yeah, we need to get paid.
Rent's expensive here.
Is anyone trained in diplomacy?
I'm
Well,
playing.
yeah, of course I am. I deal with the people all the time. I am a man of the people.
All right, I'm going to try to aid the litigator. So if the litigator takes up this argument, I'm going to try to like bolster him with chipping in and trying to back him up.
As I say on my infomercials, give me some more money, please.
This is my aid check. I failed. So good luck.
All right, so the kiddo is just going to look back and forth at all of you nervously.
I just want to double check here because this doesn't even seem possible because I have a significant modifier. I'm just going to roll a d20.
Why don't you roll again just in case?
But my modifier is +9, so I shouldn't be capable of rolling that poorly.
Yeah, here, just you can just roll a normal d20 and just add 9 to it real quick.
Yep, that's fine. Go for it.
I'll help fix your sheet later. Just quickly do it. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
There you go.
26.
Yeah, that's a little better.
All right, so you make a very compelling argument, I assume, about the legalities of being put into a dangerous, hostile workplace environment in which you have been attacked by drones that were clearly trying to take you out.
I'm just going to quote a bunch of statutes and numbers and stuff that probably aren't real, but he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that. That's right.
I like the cut of your jib.
Is that your aid there, Hieronomo? I like the cut of your jib.
I like the cut of your jib.
All right, so litigator, you are making a compelling argument, and your mother. Did you send your grandmother back to the merch table?
Yeah.
So your mother is still hanging out there, and she is just behind your shoulder every time, jumping up because you are taller than her, and pointing at putting at the kiddo there and saying, yeah, you listen to my boy. Yeah, you give him all the money, him and all of his friends. They deserve it. Look what you did to him. And she is really just helping you sell your case here, as the kiddo appears to be much more terrified of your mother than of you.
I'll just reach back and high five her when we're done. I think we got it.
I
think we made our case.
You certainly have made your case. The kiddo rocks back on his heels and peers down into his data pad and makes a couple of boop boop motions with his fingers as if he is checking like an account balance or something like that. And he sighs and he said, you're all right, kids. I do get it, my babies. I do get it, my stars. I need your help as much as I can, and I am willing to give you everything out of my pockets, proverbially, because credits and everything. I don't really do physical money anymore. However, I am willing to transfer 150 credits per person for this job. And there's more where that came from if I can get my hands on it after all of this hubbub dies down. Will you please help me find out what has happened to my megastar? And I think that we can pull this out. I think that if you let us know where exactly this is all happening, we can potentially get another production. We can stream. It'll be just like a reality show. We can get you rescuing Brandy Brutal. What do you think? Do you think this is something that we can actually turn in our favor? Do you think we could even get more fans out of this?
I think that when you say we're rescuing your big star, what you're saying is we're really getting you 4 more stars, and that's us.
That's right. I'll put you all on the maps, my babies, my stars, my little honey wrestlers. We're going to do this together. What do you say? Is this money enough?
I say it's money enough, but never call me a honey wrestler again.
Well, fair enough. I do get excited sometimes.
Honey wrestling is only on Fridays.
I feel like Bear Drills knows about honey wrestling.
I have no comment. What I do on the weekends is my prerogative, not your guys.
All right, so the kiddo has agreed to pay you 150 credits per person with the potential for more later on to figure out what's going on. Litigator, you have got a clue as to what might be going on from your grandmother who's describing what happened within the crowd when all of this started to go down, but you haven't actually shared this information. And the kiddo seems to be kind of at a loss as to how to proceed. What do you want to do, Litigator?
Well, see, people, I have a sneaking suspicion that well-known, renowned, but retired several years ago heel, the Skulk, is behind this. I say this based on very, very little information whatsoever. But since that's better than what we have, I think you should probably follow it. And also because last I heard he was broke, so worst case scenario, he can't sue us.
That's
We
fair.
would recognize the Skulk as being a rival of Randy's.
Yeah, Hieronomo. So you pretty much knew everything about Brandy Brutal from your childhood, watching wrestling and just being up on the general sort of subculture of wrestling, and as it's progressed within the past couple of decades. So you do recognize that name, as that was Brandy's primary rival. He's also a wrestler who has not really been in the limelight very much in recent years. You've heard rumors that they've tried to come back many times and that no league was really interested in booking them. You can kind of deduce just from that information that it's not implausible that the Skulk might have heard something about Brandy's big comeback, and Brandy was bragging all over the Infosphere and social media about how the crowds were going to get a taste of him again, and he was going to come back stronger than ever. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that the Skulk is trying to get attention to make his own comeback.
You might remember him from those energy drink commercials a few years ago that killed a lot of people.
Yeah, didn't they actively disintegrate kidneys as a way of trying to keep you awake?
Oh yes, yeah, it worked for about 48 hours.
Should keep you lively for those time though.
All right,
did.
so while you guys are all while you guys are all talking about that, and Hieronomo, sounds like you're sharing kind of all this information.
Yeah, I share all this stuff. Yeah.
With your party. Okay. The kiddo is just gonna kind of nod and say, "Oh, wrestling drama. There's nothing like wrestling drama. Am I right, my stars, my babies? I can't really help you out too much. I had nothing to do with any of this. I wish that
I sense motive.
Yep.
go for it."
I had a sense motive, that guy.
That's a 16 from you and an 18 there.
Yep.
You guys, it seems like he is telling the letter of the truth. But that there might be a little bit something else going on here. You're not really sure. He does seem genuinely confused and genuinely scared. However, the statements, "I had no idea about any of this," seems a little bit like he might be exaggerating or not entirely being forthcoming.
Okay, so all right, so maybe he knew something was going to happen, but he didn't think it was going to be this bad or something. But
Very possible.
We'll see. All right. I will share a knowing glance with Malscripcion there, and we'll keep an eye on this guy.
Will indeed.
Do you even have eyes?
All right.
I do. Yeah, of course I have eyes.
Okay.
Please.
All right. All right, so this arena that has been set up, that has been built in a very kind of temporary way, specifically for this event, with all of the funding from the investors at Absalom Station. This is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It was specifically chosen in the wilds of Akiton for its open area where there could be a lot of tents set up, where a lot of fans could hang out, where there could be little vendors and pop-up restaurants and street food that could be sold, all benefiting the league, of course, and trying to make up proceeds from various previous shows that have lost money, because that is absolutely a thing in this league. So the stadium itself doesn't really have anything in the way of a town around it. However, there are those tents, and there are several vehicles that the production crew had been using to get back and forth between places and transport equipment from, starships that had dropped it off and stuff like that. So there are a couple of vehicles that are owned by the league, and in effect, basically the kiddo has the keys to them. And so as you guys are figuring out exactly what's going on, he's going to usher you back toward the entrance tunnel, past the green room, get you guys outside, and you're going to see an array of a couple of different types of vehicles, a couple of exploration buggies, a couple of cycles, and he's going to say, keep me in the loop. I don't necessarily want to come with you, but if you can let me know what happens, you are free to take one of these vehicles if you don't mind.
So I'm going to see about grabbing my street legal equipment on the way out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, kind of look around and any of you know how to drive one of these, well, in case we have to chase a drone?
They're only like bicycles, right?
Define well.
Okay, so I guess the person who's driving is the person who doesn't have feet for an accelerator. You got it.
You got mandibles. You can reach in there.
Steering's the hard part, right?
And the essential part, yeah.
All right, so are you all picking one of those exploration buggies? You will all fit in one exploration buggy if you wish. There are intercycles that are single passenger or single driver vehicles as well. So it's up to
I'm
you.
imagining this kind of like a pickup truck, and I have to be like in the bed of the truck in a way, just holding on to the roof because I can't fit in the chairs.
I'm really appreciating the idea of Bear Grylls on one of our intercycles, just as a tiny little toy bicycle.
It basically looked like a giant oversized bear on a scooter.
Yes, give him some sort of unicycle or a sidecar. That's even better.
Nice.
Bear Drills, you might have to take an intercycle on your own.
I wish to be driven. I don't want to become a circus act this early. We're not playing Extinction Curse.
All right, sidecar it is, and but you have to wear this fez.
Fine. Deal. Wear the fez.
So are you guys trying to affix one of the intercycles to the exploration buggy as a sidecar specifically for Bear Drills? Is that what I'm hearing?
Let me pull out my engineering check.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How hard could
Make
that
an
possibly be?
engineering check. Bear Drills, you get to be the mascot.
All right, so I have a 21 to see about fusing an intercycle to the side of this exploration buggy.
All right, so Tehwas, if you are able to look around and get the tools that you need and the equipment that you need, this is something that you could pretty easily do.
Good.
I just
So-
imagine.
Now just remember, Bear, this is going to hold up very well unless we have to do anything sudden or anything risky whatsoever.
Like,
it has
stop.
To, it has to be weak enough so if it detaches, I use my body weight to like lean left and right, so it like steers where I need it, so I don't go careening off uncontrollably. I make sure to get like a pipe as they're willing. I make sure to get like a pipe, like rip it out from somewhere, and good luck to whoever apartment complex now suffers, and like stash.
As the owner, as the owner of a vehicle that frequently loses control, all I can do is recommend that you steer yourself away from the oncoming traffic.
Really noted, because I don't have the bar like a rowboat on the street to like push myself left and right if it ever detaches.
I thought you grabbed it so that you could play Road Rash and just start knocking drones out of the sky as we drive by.
Bear Drills, you could essentially just hold your paws out and smack anything that tries to go past you while you zoom around any kind of obstacles.
But I want to be like old, like dystopian future LA with like a pipe and just driving at people in like this broken shopping cart car hybrid. You know, just hitting mailboxes and burning barrels and just, you know.
Mailboxes, parking meters.
With a metal pipe.
The pain from hitting the mailboxes is not as much as a pain in your heart, right? Right, Bear Drills?
Exactly.
I figure if I don't look in the rearview mirrors, I have plausible deniability of what even happened.
Are you all still wearing your wrestling outfits, by the way? Despite the fact that you have agreed to help out and figure out what has happened to Brandy Brutal and that you've told the kiddo you're on the job and that you'll let him know what happens and keep in communication. You guys have time to change in the locker rooms if you want to before you take off. You know the general direction that Brandy Brutal was taken, and while you all figure out exactly what preparations you need to make, I will let folks make a culture check if they wish to see if anything about just the general terrain or just the general layout of having spent a few days around here.
Is this something that, because we're tapped into the infosphere, I could use computers for?
Yeah, you can. You can do a Google search to basically pull up a schematic of this area if you want.
Google search.
I would also exactly. You could do a space Google.
Space Google.
A spoogle search. I would also let people make physical science checks if they want to know stuff about the terrain.
How about a profession lawyer check? Is there any way that could be handy?
Profession lawyer. I don't think that it would really tell you anything other than a way to describe this situation in the most litigious way possible.
I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't mind knowing that.
Sure. Okay.
I have a thing. Apparently, I decided to Google up Spoogle just in case it wasn't something terrible. And apparently, Spoogle is a universe viewer. Spoogle will let you view the stars. This is pretty much Google's thing as well. So apparently, that kind of fits.
Perfect.
But
so in the future,
let's try not to continue with the word, though, if you don't mind.
Probably not, because it really sounds like something that's veering into NC-17 territory, and we promised you that we wouldn't go there.
Right. No more spookling.
All right. So no more spookling. Andrew, please.
Let's continue on, please.
So, Malscripcion, you have made a computer's check to tap into the infosphere. Are you looking for anything in particular, information-wise?
I think I'm looking for what I'm looking for are some is news about what was it, Skulk Shotgun, and what they've been up to. Possibly something that could get me some motives and could get some sense of where they might be taking our not protagonist, Brandy Brutal.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, so you got a 17 on that. So you're not seeing any legitimate news reports about Skulk Shotgun at all. In fact, he seems to be kind of a non-entity. You find a very old archived news article from about 8 years ago that reports that the Skulk was arrested for loitering outside a wrestling promotion, one of the bigger wrestling promotions of the Pact Worlds. It seems like he was causing a ruckus and starting some arguments and getting into altercations, and the police had to be called. That is the last legitimate piece of news that you find.
Okay, but no article about, like, yeah, this time 15 years ago, Skulk yelled at Brandy, "You and me in front of this convenience store," and Brandy was like, "You just named the time," and it was never resolved or something like that.
Oh, that sort of thing happened all of the time, and it was always scripted back then. So that sort of report wouldn't surprise you. But what does surprise you is that you find the private blog on a very outdated old blog site, like a Livy journal type of situation, if you will, in which it appears to be Brandy Brutal himself making posts in a really pompous, sort of arrogant type of way, referring to himself in the third person, but signing it as if he had written it himself, promising his fan base that there's going to be something big that's happening and that he's going to make his comeback in a way. And there are several of these posts over the course of like the last probably 3 months or so. And what is really kind of strange, not necessarily the content, because Brandy Brutal is very over the top, but it's the fact that there are so many comments on all of these, and it looks like that the fans are actually starting to buy into this, and that you can tell from some of these comments that he's been communicating with some of them in like private messages. So it seems like that he has been up to something, planning something, and that there has been a very large underground fan base that is really slavering for this sort of brand new comeback to happen.
Okay, and none of these screen names or the like are like the Kiddo 98 or anything like that.
No, nothing super obvious that you would recognize. You do recognize a couple of handles here and there from people who have been on your own fan websites. So a couple of names that you have actually banned from your website for basically
Please, Hieronomo's fan website. I don't get one of those.
You are the heel, by the way, La Malscripcion, so you have some fans who occasionally cause problems, and you've had to throw them
I believe
out.
what you mean is the
You are
commotion from Big
Hieronomo's
Potion.
arch enemy.
I am the commotion from Big Potion. Thank you very much.
All right. So let's see. That is pretty much what you are able to find. And you also notice that there's a promise that there will be a big showdown of epic proportions. And in fact, that it is a rematch that his fans have always wanted to see in 6 weeks' time. And then that is when everything sort of ends.
That would be 6 weeks from right now.
That would be 6 weeks from when the post ends. So basically, it lines up to right now.
Oh.
So assume we're all kind of like in a city and stuff like that, right? At this point,
you're actually kind of out in the rural wilds.
Yeah, fun piece of trivia. This is actually this part of the country is not actually claimed by any legal entity, which means the laws do not apply here.
That's very true. That's very true, Litigator. And in fact, it's an old Thasteron mining site, so all the stuff has been kind of built up over old mining equipment. And the only thing of really any note geographically is a thing that, let's see, you might know. Let's see, Zoran, you made a culture check, result of 13. You know in general the background of this area as having been an old Thasteron mining sort of station and just collection of equipment, in which at one point there was kind of bunkers, but the large refinery for where all of this raw material was collected is about 20 miles north of here. And in fact, that was the same direction that the drone was witnessed flying off with Brandy Brutal. So let's see.
Yeah, drones like that, I can't imagine they have a very high range. So 20 miles sounds like probably about as far as they would be able to go.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty fair
Let's
assessment.
let's head for there. Let's start our hunt there.
All right, you go in that direction. All right, so Litigator, you rolled a 15 on your profession lawyer check. As you have astutely noted, you were correct that this is an unincorporated area, that there are very few legal there's very few legal jurisdictions in this area, and that laws that apply to all of Akiton are still in effect, but there are no city ordinances or county ordinances or really anything else. This is just sort of a flyover area. So all this stuff happening under the radar, you wouldn't necessarily expect any authorities to really be able to respond to this or make it any kind of priority, which makes sense because nobody has called the police.
Are there any?
That's a question.
Are there any outstanding legal cases against, well, either Beefcake, Brandy Brutal, or against the Skulk that I should be aware of?
So you know that if you are over there with Tehwas, are you sharing any of this information that you're getting, Tehwas?
Yeah, I'm doing the thing where I sort of mutter to myself about some of the stuff I'm finding. So I'm not giving a full report, but people are getting some Cliff Notes bullet points.
Okay, so Litigator, you were able to gather enough information from that, as well as your just basic information of how the law works, that the Skulk has probably got several open criminal cases against him. He might even be a bail jumper, in fact, and it wouldn't necessarily be anything that would be easy to find on the infosphere for news, because he's a has-been and nobody really cares about what he's been up to. But you think there's a very good chance that that he has committed a lot of crimes, and he is probably wanted by several authorities, just depending on where all he's been.
Interesting. Is there any kind of bounty?
There is most likely going to be a bounty if he's skipped out on bail, especially if it's been multiple times.
That's good to know. Well, the value of this guy just went up.
I do like the logic of there's going to be a bounty, as in our job is now to get him to do as many illegal things as possible so we can reap as much money as possible when we turn him in.
You know, I like the way you think.
So
Well, you're already getting paid by the kiddo. You're
Yeah.
already getting potentially some bounty money. Who even knows? And you're also potentially drumming up new fans if you're going to be able to pull off streaming the takedown of Brandy Brutal once and for all, if that is your plan.
Oh yeah. Oh, do we have some? I guess I'm wondering if are we recording our mission out here?
If you want to take some little hand cameras, you can easily collect those from the media booth.
Yeah.
The kiddo's going to let you do whatever you need to do to drum up additional fans.
Yeah, we totally want to bring some cameras.
100%.
Yeah.
If we could get some kind of a camera drone to just follow us around at a distance of like 2 or 3 feet, is that even possible?
So the kiddo is going to hear you say that, and he's going to go, "Oh, my stars! Oh, my stars, my babies, you are so smart. I have just the ticket, just the ticket." And he's going to run back to the green room, and he's going to come back, and he's going to be bringing the most pathetic, sad-looking robot, question mark, and it is going to be just covered in, like, bandages, and there's going to be paper clips and rubber bands that are tying everything together, and it's going to have just a cracked screen with a long crack that's running all the way down it lengthwise. And he's going to present that to you and be like, "Now this is a camera, and it's not going to be the best, but this is going to be something that will just get the job done, and it'll be able to stream right to our studios, right to our media tent here, and we'll be able to broadcast it if you can get it done. How does this work for you?" Only the best.
Just get the job done is the slogan on the paperweight on my desk.
I'm going to take a look at this sad Roomba and see if it actually has an intact lens, or whether like we're going to get some sort of spider-webbed video.
So you're examining it, and you're seeing that the thing, while it is theoretically functional, it looks like it needs a little bit of tinkering and work to it. And if you want to just sit there and make a computer's check to see if you can get it in a better working order.
I nickname
Also,
it
You
BR.
can do that.
So it appears to be covered with jelly. I can take care of this.
13.
It's jammed.
All right.
Oh.
So you basically are able to blow the you're basically able to blow the dust out of it there, La Malscripcion, and kind of give the lens a little bit of a clean. It's gonna be functional. There's probably gonna be a little bit of a halo around the picture. It's probably not gonna do well in low light, but it is functional.
Okay, should be fine.
I look great with a halo.
I decided to nickname it BR.
BR. Now, what does BR stand for?
Bad reception.
Bad
Oh.
reception. All right. So, anything else you guys want to do to prepare before you, sounds like, take up the kiddo on his offer of using his vehicle with the sidecar of the Enercycle for bear drills?
Well,
out into
we
the wild
got
of Akiton.
we got somebody to promise us money. We got us on camera. I'm not sure what else other preparations we need.
I think we should start heading out immediately.
All right, you're gonna head out on your exploration buggy / bear drills stuck out on
Put
the
on my
Enercycle
helmet
like a
with
sidecar.
comical goggles and get ready to go. I'm like, let's go.
To the Justice Mobile.
Da-da-da-da.
And yes,
Justice Mobile.
I will meaningfully point to the fez that I handed you earlier.
That's fine. Put on the fist.
It makes us go faster. Come on.
Yeah, that's like
It's
flaming.
red.
I have
Come on.
flaming streaks on the side of the sidecar.
It's time. We ride.
All right.
All right. So who's driving?
I'm going to slurp myself into the driver's seat.
Nice.
I'm pretty
All
sure
right.
Tehwas is the only one who even has a license.
La Malscripcion.
Wait.
You
I have a license to be a veterinarian. I don't have a license to drive, but that changes nothing on Akiton.
That also changes nothing about what I just said.
That's true.
No cops
Oh,
in
no.
the back roads.
We're
La
learning the wrong
Malscripcion.
things about Daeve.
I like the fact, La Malscripcion, that you have the most publicly presentable day job, and yet you are the most hated, worst heel of the entire group, and everybody likes to razz you, despite the fact that you are, with the exception of the lawyer, like the most educated, presentable character.
Womp womp.
That's not to say that personal injury lawyers aren't, very upstanding and forthcoming, by the way, litigator.
I've helped a lot of people. Also
All
hurt a lot
right.
of people.
So all right, if
so-
my companions get mouthy, I'll just take some of the corners a lot harder.
Then bear drills just might fly off the side.
Oh, God.
Correct.
Into the ditch.
Uh,
Okay, so we're in a car and all that.
Yep.
So where are we going?
All right. So, why don't we have, so you guys know that about 20 miles away, is this, refinery situation. That's your best guess as to where Brandy Brutal has been taken. So, why don't we have somebody, it doesn't have to be the driver, but somebody make a survival check to see if you are able to figure out, like the best route that makes the most sense through the
I can do
deserty
that.
terrain.
My survival
as-
is like +5.
Go for it.
Mine's
Navigate for us.
-1.
Actually,
So
it's 4, but whatever. So whoop. That didn't apply to the stuff. That is a 15.
That's a 15. Okay. So, you're pretty aware, and you all have done some spoogle. Sorry, Peyton.
Yeah, seriously,
Searches.
let's not do that word again.
You have done some infosphere searches. Is that better, Peyton?
Yes.
Okay, you've done some infosphere searches that has really just turned up the fact that this is a very dry, desert-like rocky terrain. It can be fairly difficult. This is all an off-road situation, so you're going to have to try to take somewhat of a circuitous route to get to the refinery facility there. So you are able to find at least an acceptable route. It's certainly not going to be as the crow flies or as the sharp wing flies, if you will, for Starfinder monster fans out there. But it'll be acceptable. So it's going to take you probably about 45 minutes total just to navigate through all of the different obstacles and to make sure that you're not going too fast. So while you've got the route pointed out, John, why don't you make a piloting check to make sure that you're not driving too fast or hitting anything along
Oh
the
boy.
way. Again, this is all off-roading, and you guys are all improvising here.
Come on, boom, 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 boom. I get an 11.
All right, so a few minutes passing, you're able to get, 10 miles, 11 miles, 12 miles. You're about halfway through the distance. There's not a lot around. There's a few old abandoned, what look like mining shafts with caps on them, a little bit of old rundown rusted equipment. That's dotting the landscape here and there, but for the most part, it is very natural and very abandoned. And then all of a sudden, as you are coming to, what was that, Peyton? Sorry.
No, we were doing soundscape sounds, and the engine got very loud. So
Oh, okay. No problem. Well, you know what? There's that's a little bit of a good coincidence because at this point, John, you are feeling the engine of the exploration buggy start to shudder a little bit, and it's starting to putter, and it's starting to it's starting to cough a little bit, and all of a sudden you're pushing down on the accelerator, and you're not feeling anything in response, and your car has broken down.
Ah,
Also-
this
also
is so
the,
like the kiddo.
To help you out, you can copy paste our previous Roll20 tokens into this one. All you gotta do is like highlight them all, Control C, come to this map, Control V, and it should place the new ones in there. So they're all configured.
Oh, okay, because I have copies of the tokens in there, but
Yeah,
you're
I'm
saying
just
I
getting one
should
that
use
all
the previous
fancy
ones. Yeah, let's do that. I will do that
just
now.
to help you out there. Yeah,
All right, so while so while I'm doing that, why don't you all tell me what you're doing while this exploration buggy has just decided to go kaput?
Well, on the way here, while we're in the car, I'm going to take 10 minutes while someone else is driving to spend a resolve point and regain stamina.
That sounds like an excellent choice.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
That'll put me at one resolve left, and
There you go.
yeah.
All right. Has anybody brought any equipment with them from the locker room there? Have you guys gotten any kind of healing or anything like that?
Brought equipment. No special healing stuff though.
Yeah, why don't you all go through what you have brought on your person, because you have just set out into the desert in an area that is decidedly abandoned and not accessible, and that the authorities just don't care about. So what have you actually done to prepare yourselves for this?
We got a car.
I brought
we had a
ration
car.
packs. Yeah, we had one. I brought ration packs, and obviously my mercenary armor. Brought my giant, riot like shield, and pretty much my armor and stuff. I brought no healing serums, no nothing, because I couldn't afford anything and haven't got paid by the wrestling league yet. So this is basically what I have, along with magazines for my pistol.
Oh, magazines for your pistol. I thought you were bringing wrestling magazines.
I mean that too.
The trunk was full of those anyway.
I just see the litigator in it. I'm like, my just the color. I'm like, I gotta keep going. Just
Bear
just super
Drills, you did a very good job when you're retrieving things from your locker back there in the green room. That nobody saw how many cutouts of the litigator you had from different magazines that were
this is a very
put
creepy
up.
shrine.
And you had drawn little hearts around them and just went "Meow" every time you look.
one day he'll recognize me.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Mr.
You just got a
Dave
diary with the
Drills.
words bear, Palanshuk over and over and over again.
This is the worst lore for my character, and I'm starting to hate it. But we'll keep rolling.
You did this, my friend. You started this
I
line.
messed up bad.
You done messed up.
We'll keep going. It's funny though.
When we got into the car, Hieronomo tore off his wrestling outfit to reveal basically like safari gear underneath.
So
Where do you
he's
hide this
prepared.
stuff?
So he's wearing travel clothes. His clothing figures travel clothing. Otherwise, he's just got his mess kit and his hygiene kit, and that's like his sole possessions. So that's all I've got.
I like that you don't actually have to tear anything off, but you do just because it's cooler that way.
Yeah.
And then you just like slap the piece that you tore off onto your back and it reforms into your clothes.
Yeah, when he tears it, the fabric basically disappears. Like the nanites disappear and reform the new clothing. Yep.
All right. So Litigator, did you go over what equipment you had on you?
Well, I have a lot of business cards and a comm unit, and that's it.
Jeez.
All right. So, if you get somebody in your face, you can just fan those business cards and make it rain. I'm sure that will stop anybody who's trying to hurt you.
And I do also still have Grandma's gun.
And you do
access to the infinity of the multiverse. I got that too.
Oh, no biggie.
Oh, just that. You don't mean to brag, right? All right. So when you guys got into the car, so Malscripcion, you spent some time and found the different tools that you needed to fuse that Enercycle to the exploration buggy, correct?
Yep, sure did.
Did you guys check the car before you got in and took off, or did you all just kind of pile in and go toward the big refinery?
We made the tragic mistake of trusting our bookie.
Yeah. Tragic indeed.
I checked to make sure that the door would shut.
I check the back seat and take out a large mini laser gun that is conveniently placed in there, right? Wink? Possibly in there?
No.
Wink, wink, wink.
Darn it. Okay.
All right, so
I tried, fellas. Same team.
Wink faster.
all right, so nobody managed to check the exploration buggy, and as you were all going off on your own, pretty much figuring out what it was that you needed to do, which in most cases wasn't very much to get ready for this, nobody checked the back hatchback of the exploration buggy, and so the exploration buggy itself is parked over here where I'm pinging on the map. It's off to the side of Bear Drills, and all of a sudden, Bear Drills, you hear just this from the rust and the creaking joints of this metal. This car is clearly very run down and was purchased probably fourth hand by the League just to transport things. You hear that sound, and all of a sudden, you look back and you see what is clearly two Dorindis are popping out of the back of this. And Litigator, you immediately realize, hey, that's your mom and grandma.
Oh, Grandma, sorry, I forgot to give you your gun back. Here it is.
It's like Speed Racer, except instead of the kid and the monkey, we have Grandma. That's
I
awesome.
drew a terrible card. Good.
Oh, wow.
What are you talking about? That's exactly what your car looks like. I told
It's a car.
It's a scribble car. All right. So Litigator, your mother and your grandma both run up to you, and your grandmother is just eyeballing that gun and said, "Who said that you could take off with my gun without asking me, boy?"
I'm sorry, I forgot. So how did the marked up sales go?
Oh, we did great, son. I'm gonna be able to finally go on that great vacation that we all wanted to take. I'll take you all with me. It'll be a cruise. We'll go on a great cruise of the Pact World. Won't it be fun?
Fantastic, looking forward to it. And I'm sorry that I got you marooned out here in the desert.
Oh, it's okay. I came out here to give you all sorts of grief, but what I really wanted to do was, Ma, come here. And she's calling her own daughter Ma for some reason. And your mother is going to whip out those sunglasses that are being sold with the rhinestones all over them at your merch table. And she's going to get up on her tippy toes, and she's going to place them on your face. And then she's going to slap your little face so affectionately and look up at you and be like, "That's my boy. Now, you show them what we're all made of." And she's gonna kiss you right on the nose. Mwah.
I'll make you proud, Ma.
Oh, you're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. Litigator,
Someday I'll make you
Daeve.
proud.
My Daeve. And your grandmother and your mother are hugging you. While all of this is going on, Hieronomo,
Yeah.
you make me a perception check.
I will attempt one. We shall see. Where's that damn thing? Where's perception?
You can just
Stop
roll a
making fun of
D20
my
if you want.
beautifully drawn car. And
Let's just roll it down.
We are artists. We are true artists.
Correct.
That's not gonna make it.
Let's see what you got here.
I just got a 7. So my if I'm adding wisdom, I think is 1. So that's 8.
Okay, so you are just noticing this display of affection, and you're thinking, oh, this warms your heroic little heart. This is
Yes!
something that makes you happy. You don't necessarily hear anything
Oh.
until...
I get eaten by a dinosaur.
Why don't you make me a perception check, La Malscripcion, as well?
Okay, you got it.
I believe in you. See, I don't believe in you anymore. That one.
Okay, so I get a 9.
Your belief was fleeting, Bearman.
You know what? It's better than yours. That's
I have
all I
no
need.
idea. Can I try and get a natural 1 myself?
Why don't you go ahead and roll while La Malscripcion's cold, dead little heart is being melted by this lovely scene of this
Bam!
Dorindy family?
That is a 19 plus 3.
All right. So with that 22 bear drills, you hear out of, just kind of the outside of the corner of your ear, so to speak, you are hearing this kind of like buzzing sort of engine type of sound that sounds like it's coming from well off into the distance to the north. It sounds kind of like a puttering noise of maybe another vehicle. You hear kind of like a puffing, like a type of sound, but then it stops. It's again kind of off in the distance to the north.
I go off to the north to investigate. By 1, 2.
Bear, where are you going?
I hear something. I hear something to north. It sounds like a chuck noise, and as mighty as I am, I will defeat it where it stands if it proves to be a threat. I flex and continue going north, and I tell my companions, "Come, companions, we must find to see what the source of this noise is. Under this whistling noise of this desert area."
Well, at the very least, the car isn't going anywhere.
Grandma will take care
All right.
of it.
So you're going north. Tehwas, you're going with them as well. Are you guys doing this stealthily, or are you just kind of blundering through the environment?
I'm going straight through.
I don't think
All
bears
right.
do things stealthily.
I mean, I believe that they believe they're doing things stealthily.
I'm willing to give an attempt at stealth and trust that they will see the bear. They just might not know that the bear has company.
Yeah.
Don't mind me over here.
That's a
I'm
good-
just
Yeah, you're
rolling
just
some things.
doing a check.
Seeing what happens. All right. So as you guys are moving forward, so out of the corner of your eye, right here, Tehwas, you see what looks like the back of another vehicle back here.
You wanna make a little dot line for us here?
Yeah, let me do that.
We draw a little thing just so chat also has a anchor.
Yeah, so here, just kind of the back of another vehicle
It's a better car than mine.
standing out. It's a box. I mean, let's not pretend that it's anything but a
Ooh,
box.
it has a wheel.
It's got 2 wheels. 2-wheel drive.
It does. It does.
Made it farther into the desert than ours did.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. And so there also seems to be a little bit of movement back here. But as you guys are moving closer, everything eerily stops. You definitely see the car, La Malscripcion, but it appears to be abandoned except for what was maybe a little bit of movement, but it could have been a trick of your eye, you're not sure.
Hey, Bear.
What?
I think
I
there's
say it loudly.
somebody. Oh my gosh, there's somebody in the car.
It's not loudly. It's okay. She's like, no. Well, fine. I'm scared of cars and their loud noises. Supposedly, all of a sudden, you go and check it out. I'll wait here. I try to hide behind the bushes.
Actually, did Daeve follow us?
Yes, Dave is right behind the bear.
So as Bear drills basically is like, maybe you should check it out. I turned to David like, hey Dave, maybe you should ask them if they, since their car broke down, if they have like litigious needs.
You know, that's an excellent idea.
I nothing is as trustworthy as breaking down in the middle of nowhere and a lawyer popping up and saying, somebody wrong you.
It's like
I make it a point to
somebody
be
legal
wherever I am needed.
You are
I mean-
everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You are the night litigator.
My mother and grandmother just popped out of the trunk, so it's a thing we do.
What are you gonna do with them, by the way? As clearly there is something that might be unfolding. Are you just gonna have them go back to the car, or what are you gonna tell them to do?
I'm gonna ask Grandma if she can figure out any way to fix the car.
What do I look like to you? Some kind of mechanic? Grand boy, I swear, you get the craziest ideas.
You remember that vending machine you fixed that one time?
I mean, I suppose I could. These curlers are metal. I might be able to fashion some kind of tool here or there. I might be able to try to work on this car. I mean, it's gonna take some time, though.
Give her a few more minutes. She's going to turn those curlers into an azimuth laser rifle.
Do you have a laser? If you have a laser, I could probably do that. I'm much better at making guns, see, than anything else. Cars, I don't know anything about cars, but when it comes to guns, I know my stuff. Right, boy?
Oh, yeah, I remember what happened to Grandpa.
Oh, gosh.
I told you that we don't talk about that. He had an accident, boy. Remember?
This got dark.
Of course I remember.
That's how we got that scar, right? Wink, 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 wink.
I'll return the wink.
All right, so she's gonna wander back over to the car and mess with some things. She has a lot of sort of streetwise information and knowledge, but she's definitely not a mechanic, so if she's gonna be trying to figure out what's going on, she's gonna be doing a lot of basic stuff. Doesn't appear that there's gonna be any real headway that she's gonna be able to make in the next couple of minutes at least.
Probably not, but I mean, are any of us? Well, I guess Tehwas is.
Tehwas is, but Tehwas is also seems to be interested in this car that is to the north of you guys.
What I'm saying is her odds are not substantially worse than almost anybody else's when it comes to trying to fix the car.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she has done a lot of things in her life, and she's learned a lot of different types of skills. So if anybody's able to figure it out on the fly, it's going to be your grandma, Litigator.
Aw, shucks.
All right, so did I hear that at least the three of you are moving up toward that car?
Yep. Hoping that the
Believe so.
litigator can work his litigation magic.
Yes. So yeah, I will run point on this, and I will walk up. So is it dark out?
No, it's kind of in the middle of the day. This was happening kind of mid-morning. This event was happening mid-morning, and it was attempting to be in a time where people of lots of different time zones and things could tune in, because it was being broadcast through the admittedly fairly small time in both beer channels.
Oh gosh, we were a matinee.
That's
Yeah,
right.
We weren't even in prime time.
You
It was
were-
like 11 a.m.
You were not even in prime time. You were definitely not pay-per-view. You guys are just kind of randomly on the internet for people who already know where you are.
On the plus side, we were already in the building, so we get to eat at the lunch buffet afterwards.
That's right.
So yes, Daeve Palanshuk will be approaching the car. As he approaches, I guess if it's broad daylight, he assumes that if there's anybody in it, they can see him. And
Yep.
he will attempt to take a look to see whether or not he can see anybody in the car. So he's not
Alright, so
attempting to remain hidden or anything.
So you're walking up to the car. Put your token where exactly it is that you are peering into this car.
It depends how close I can get before something happens. So I kind of put myself in a midway point here on
Okay.
the off chance that somebody in there reacts. If nothing does happen, or if I can't see anything meaningful by that point, I will keep going until I can.
Okay, yeah, you can get right up to the car to be able to peer in, and nothing is happening.
Okay, well, then I will look in the window and see what's going on in here.
All right. So with that perception check that I rolled, you don't see anything in there. It appears to be an abandoned car. However, you can smell that the engine has been on recently. This is not something that's been here for years and years or anything. All the tires are functional. It looks like somebody has just parked it here. And as you walk up and you peer into the car's windows there, stepping aside out from that rock are two bipedal, normal person sized, I should say, or at least comparable to you.
Oh my gosh, the bear
medium
is right here, Amanda. Please.
size perspective. That's why it's like, I would say person size, but there is a bear. They are two tortoise-like individuals that have got full shells, and they are sort of chuckling as if they were watching you wander up here. And when they look
hello.
their head in there, they're going to be like, "Surprise, litigator!"
What?
As they're talking, can I move up? Is that all right?
I'd say I'm
yeah, go ahead
surprised they
and
know
move
my
up.
name, but of course they know my name.
Of course we know your name.
You've seen the
know
commercials?
Exactly who you are. We've seen your commercials, and we have to say we are disappointed in you. You can never be as good a wrestler as the Skulk. You'll never get the Skulk. You'll never stop his plan for Brandy Brutal. Why don't you come out as if you want to fight? And they're going to brandish their tactical batons that they've got out. And you can see that they've got static arc pistols strapped to their sides. And now I am going to say that folks need to roll initiative, but I'm also going to ask Peyton if we should continue going with this combat and potentially run over, or whether we should try to call it here.
No, we should be good enough. We still have like 20-something minutes. If we go over a little bit, it's fine. Let's try to finish this up, and then we can go.
Okay, sounds great.
I got it.
Sounds great.
Mr. Tondro destroyed us on initiative.
For once.
Dang.
Yeah.
Oops,
Yeah,
I did not
yeah.
target myself first.
Yeah, click yourself and do the initiative roll, and just remember you got like a 13 for Amanda.
Okay.
I mean, you're kind
Yep, I'll take the 13.
Yeah, so the litigator has a 13 in his turn order.
The litigator has got a 13, so I'm adding that in there. Rolling these guys.
I mean, on the one hand, they are heavily armed. On the other hand, they're tortoise people. It's hard to feel that worried just yet.
Yeah, and you all notice that they are wearing paraphernalia, and they're wearing like fan t-shirts that is a skull, a very distinctive Vesk skull that has been the symbol of the Skulk for years and years. That was something that was very common that his fans would wear, and it was often printed on bandanas. They're also each wearing bandanas. One of them has it around their face, the other one has it around their neck, and so these guys are clearly like super fans of this character that has been pointed out as maybe behind some of the disruptions from the previous.
So let me get this straight. The people we're fighting are wearing like 35-year-old t-shirts.
They're wearing t-shirts from a like 20-year-old fandom, really.
No, okay.
You can still buy a lot of his stuff on Space eBay.
Space
Dag
Bay.
nabbit, Andrew.
Spacebook.
Spacebook.
Right, so with that, I assume that we're now coming together. I kind of come up. I obviously see the weapons stepping up and go like, "Halt, villains! As far as you can tell me, the mighty Bear Drills will be your opponent today. If you dare to do us harm with your incessant fandom, I will take you down where you stand." That's
All
what I'll go
right,
into
well-
initiative.
As we're going into initially, you're just taunting these wrestling fans. And, I mean, you're taking a better look at these guys, and they, you know, are just kind of covered in piercings, and they've got scars that are all over their thick tortoise skin. The one at the top there with the pink outline has just got these like dings and these chunks taken out of his shell. These are clearly pretty rough folks who have entirely bought into the shtick that the Skulk will just return to his former glory. So Hieronomo Jones, while you've got these two super fans in front of you that are clearly intent on stopping you from getting to the refinery, Hieronomo, what do you have to say about this?
Well, Hieronomo sort of walks slowly around to the opposite side from the litigator. And he's got his hands up and he's saying, "Listen, guys, we don't have to do this. Like, we don't have to fight here. It doesn't have to be like that." Meanwhile, the camera's on.
Yeah, speaking of the cameras, has somebody got the camera? Is it back in the car? What's going on?
So
no, we deployed it when we
does it
got
just
the car.
it just follows us around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You can program it to do that, yeah.
Oh
It
yeah,
is a little drone.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so Hieronomo, are you trying to get them to back down?
Yeah, well, he's not. He doesn't really expect that to happen. He's more like trying to kind of put on a show of being diplomatic for when they bust out, for when they attack. But But I can. But I think what I'm going to do is just sort of go around and then close to here, and essentially I'm going to ready an attack for when they look like they're about to attack.
Okay, sounds good. La Malscripcion. These type of fans are not going to be any kind of stranger to you. You've got fans in your own core that tend to be a little bit violent and rough like this. You've seen these types before. What are you going to do?
I'm going to level my my costed eject rifle at them, and I will see about encouraging them to move along in a violent fashion.
Are you going to shoot at them, or are you going to intimidate them?
I think I'll be in the same boat as Hieronomo, where I'm ready in action at the first sign of true threat, beyond them, being angry. So yeah, I'll ready in action to shoot Blue if Blue does something violent or untoward.
Okay. All right, Litigator.
Let's see. So I think after Hieronomo makes his case to them, I'm going to basically nod back in his direction and say, yeah, come on, guys. We can be friends here. I'm sure we can find some sort of a common cause I don't know why you're out here. Your boss, or the what's his name? The Skulk. I had a lunchbox of his too when I was a kid. I actually thought he was dead until a couple of years ago, but I was a big fan.
Dead?
Let's help us out.
Dead? How could you couldn't be a true fan and ever possibly think that he was dead? What is going on here? What do you take us for some kind of fools? We're gonna cut you all down. We're gonna stop you in your tracks. Ha! Isn't that right, Snapjaw? You got it.
All right, that's all I got. Hieronomo, kick him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Litigator, you're going to kick the blue one there? You're going to walk up and smack at the blue one, or what are you going to do?
No. I'm going to motion for for Hieronomo to do it.
Yeah.
Hieronomo. Okay.
Can I go
darn. Sorry, I think I missed that.
Yeah, and as I am talking, I will reach for my gun and then remember, oh yeah, I gave that back to Grandma back at the car.
Whoops.
Grandma back at the car.
Here's where I'm
all
Grandma
right.
can now attack.
Should I take my attack or should I continue to wait?
Nope. Go ahead. Take your attack.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. We will start photon solar
Photon
alignment
mode. Okay. Is that the blue one that you're attacking?
Yeah, I'll attack the pink one.
Pink one. Okay.
Swing in, and wow, it's a natural 20.
Ooh, that's a critical hit, Hieronomo.
Yeah,
With your
critical.
staff there.
Do you want me to roll the damage die again, or should I just double what I already have?
You can roll it again.
It looks like it auto rolled it for you.
Oh, did it? Okay. All right. Great. Okay. So I guess the damage is it's 9 plus 1 for photon mode is 10.
Okay.
Plus your critical effect right below that.
Yep.
Oh, right.
So that'd be another 8.
No, there's no critical effect on this.
Yeah, but to be clear, Jake, the 9 damage is your base damage, and the critical effect 7 is your critical damage.
Oh, so it's 16.
Correct. Plus your
I
photon
see.
mode stuff.
Okay. So does the photon mode bonus add only once, or does it add twice?
It doubles.
So it's 18 damage.
Okay.
2, which is electrical.
Okay. All
Thanks
right.
so much.
So you just slam your staff all the way down to there. It sounds like you are not taking those tauntings very lightly, and you are certainly not going to back down and cede yourself to another inferior wrestler's fan base. It sounds like. Is that correct?
I'm just taking the distraction. Like Litigator obviously was luring them to, so he was setting me up, and I'm just taking. Yeah.
All right, so you are smashing down on that creature, that tortoise-like creature, who just kind of goes, ooh, ooh, and makes some injured noises and doubles over, and he clutches a chunk of his inner shell, the belly of his shell that you have just smacked off, and looks up at you with a murderous look in his eyes and says, "Is that all, wimp?" So that was your turn.
I can beat you further. Yes.
Bring it on! I'm not afraid of anything. The Skulk would never back down, and I'll never back down either.
Okay.
All right, so Hieronomo, that was you. Malscripcion, have you taken your turn?
No, because Blue hasn't attacked yet.
Yeah, basically,
Okay.
that was his delayed action. It was on. Oh yeah, it was on Litigator. Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Right.
mage.
Okay. That's okay. So Litigator.
Okay. I will take a move action to demoralize by saying, yeah, you're right. The Skulk probably never would back down, except for all those times he settled out of court. And I'll rattle off a couple of examples.
Bam!
Which one are you trying to intimidate?
Let's
The one who took
see.
damage?
Probably, yeah. The one who took damage seems like a good one.
Okay.
And let's see. I'm going to, just to be safe, because I was getting that weird roll thing, I'm just going to do a manual die.
You got a 12 plus 9 is 21. Excellent roll.
All right.
Sweet.
Yeah, that is excellent. That is definitely going to be enough for him to kind of look at you, and that murderous rage that was in his eyes as he was staring up at Hieronomo.
Okay, so he is shaken. He takes a -2 penalty on attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks, and ability checks for 1 round.
Yeah, and you can really see that resolve just kind of drain out of his eyes as he's staring at you and darting his eyes over to Hieronomo. It looks like maybe he's not so sure how much of a super fan he really is at this point.
And then, so that was a move action.
Oh,
Nope,
yeah,
that was-
you got
that was-
anything else?
Yeah, that was a move action because I have improved Demoralize.
Okay.
And then I will snap my fingers and switch the ground underneath them to the ground in an alternate universe where a massive gelatin truck just overturned.
All right, Jello wrestling, tortoise Jello wrestling.
And let's see, that is a grease spell.
Hey, if we're doing Jello
see if
wrestling.
this
This is
is
a fun
weirdness.
show.
Hey, we already established that honey wrestling is only on Friday.
Exactly.
All right, so I need to make.
I start.
So yeah, I'm not sure why it keeps assuming that I want to do damage with these, 1d3 damage with these things, but yes, it is a reflex save versus DC. I think the DC is correct though, because it's a first level spell.
Okay, so I'll need to make reflex saves. Where are you putting this grease spell effect?
It is a 10 by 10 foot square, so I can catch both of them and
Right
the
there?
5 feet, but yes, that's the one.
Okay, so I will go ahead and just draw around that so that we can see kind of where all this stuff is.
You also get Hieronomo Jones.
Nope, just
I
those
don't
4.
think so.
Oh, just
Nope,
as far?
shouldn't. Should get the 2 squares in front of me, and yep, that's the one.
All right, so I need to make reflex saves on these for these guys.
DC 15, and remember one of them is currently shaken, so he's got a -2.
Okay, so the one that's shaken, I'm gonna go ahead and roll for him. That reflex save is gonna be a 12, so that is not gonna make it, correct?
Yeah,
That's
there's
not
your
going to make
fail.
it.
Okay.
And for the next one,
Then the next one is gonna be
he's got snacks.
19. Okay, so that one will make it. So the one that's shaken is gonna fall prone.
That
So
is
that's-
correct.
Nice.
All right. So that's going to be this one here, and I'm going to mark that. We'll just say, we'll mark that with a little skull so that he has face planted. Whoops, not an X, a skull.
Not dead yet.
He's not dead yet. Okay. Alrighty. So that was your turn. That's a great turn there.
Good job, Litigator.
Litigator. So, Litigator, you have just summoned a spilled Jello truck, and you are apparently starting up another moonlighting operation of Jello wrestling, or some nonsense like that. Bear Drills, what are you gonna do with these two guys who are clearly in your face?
I see that it definitely is like, and I see you chose battle then. Well, allow me to show you the might of the Bear Drills. And I basically kind of rev up, like I'm kind of like doing that hero pose with the charge right forward, straight to the blue one here. So
Okay.
I'm trying to maneuver around to where I'm like this, basically.
Okay,
I'm also being
okay.
adjacent to the pink one as well. I'm basically charging in to pretty much attack the blue one. Now, I'm going to assume my entropy points did not carry over through the time. I don't think they have an expiration date.
No, you've got to do it for every combat.
Cool. So with me charging, I should at least get 1 entropy point if I dedicate my entire thing to basically do that. And unfortunately, that only gives me 1 point. I don't think I could spend it right now to improve my damage. But regardless,
No, you can't.
I will entropy strike right now. Bam! I will do a crap. That's a 10.
I will do a crap.
Chat, I need
Unfortunately.
a reroll. I need a reroll. No.
No reroll for you. If you were going to use a reroll, I would use my villain roll to not give you a reroll, as your entropic fist, your clawed paw fist, is just going to punch out dramatically, and it turns its shell.
The blue one is prone, right?
No, it's the purple one that's prone.
Okay. All right, never mind. I hit the wrong one, so my fist comes right down, just going like bear smash, and I try to come down on it, but I guess its shell is so tough, it turns around and goes ping. I'm like, no, it's too powerful.
That's exactly what happens. As soon as he sees you with your fist, you're a big bear, so it's pretty easy to be able to tell that you're about to punch him in the face. He's just gonna look at you, make eye contact, wink, chuckle, go, haha, sucker, and turn his shell so that your fist just bounces right off of him.
I don't think I could like aim my shield towards him as like a free action and all, but if I can, I will. But if I can't, then just ignore me and we'll move on to his attack or their turns.
That's right. Okay, so Hieronomo, I think this is your old initiative, so I gotta get this out of here. Tehwas, you've already gone as well.
I'm still waiting for blue.
You're still waiting for blue. Okay, so blue hasn't done anything yet, but it hasn't been blue's turn. It is now purple's turn. So purple is prone, and purple has taken a staff to the face, correct?
Yep.
All right, so purple is going to try to stand up in front of you there, Hieronomo, and just try to wildly swing the baton that's out. It's got a studded baton that's got spikes on it, and there are nails that have been driven into it, and it's
Does standing up from prone provoke?
Nope.
no, only if he moves out of your square.
Okay.
So he's gonna stand up and he's gonna take a swing at you. And say, I'll show you again who's the best wrestler. And even the fans of the Skulk are better than you people from X.T.R.E.M. And he's going to try to take a swing at you.
I feel slighted.
You
That's
did
right.
not just put down the wrestling league that we just formed.
Yeah, we've already been.
I did,
for,
and I'll do it
5
again.
hours. That's
Does
right.
that 28 hit you? Hit your KAC. All right, so that's a D4 plus 3 damage.
Okay.
So as of that, that spiked rusty baton swings at your face. You're going to take 4 points of damage, minimum damage on that. Doesn't connect with you nearly as much as he would like. And then he is going to... well, he already stood up. Never mind. So he stood up. He took his attack. That is his turn. Now it is the blue one's turn. And blue guy, he's going to snarl at you, Bear, and laugh. And as your fist has just narrowly missed his face, he's going to try to punch his own tiny little tortoise claw into your bread basket there, your gullet.
I'm going to shoot him in the head.
You're going to shoot him in the head.
Correct. I am adding a pharmaceutical injection into this as well.
Okay.
Duh!
Oh.
Oh well, it goes a little too high.
So again, he's just dodging stuff out here like the Matrix. Like, he's clearly been watching all of these action movies before he decided to go be an anti-hero for the Skulk, and he's just like dodging things left and right. He brings his fist up to try to connect with Bear Drills, and he's got that baton that's in his fist, so that's what he's really attacking with here. He is going to just swing out at you, Bear Drills, and does a... Does that
That'll
22 hit your KAC?
That'll do
All
it.
right.
Oh, hang on, did you say KAC?
It's
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
KAC.
You're
Yep,
good.
he's doing bludgeoning damage.
His badass maneuverability is made so much better by the fact that he's a tortoise.
He is graceful like the wind. Just because he happens to be a tortoise doesn't mean that he isn't essentially a ballerina. 6 points of damage on you, Bear Drills.
I've taken the damage, but I'm still mighty. I'm still in the fight.
You are still in the fight, Hieronomo Jones. What are you going to do about this?
So I'm gonna provoke an attack as I move to there. But I
Okay.
have mobility, so my KAC will be 17 with mobility.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take his attack of opportunity now.
Yep.
As you try to skirt past him, and he swings out wildly with that.
He's trying to block with his staff as he circles around.
Yep. Okay.
That'll do it.
Another 6.
Yep, another 6. How's everybody's stamina and health doing at
I'm
this
out
point?
of stamina. I'm out of stamina, and I'm down 2 health.
Okay.
I'm out of stamina, down 1 health because I didn't.
Okay.
Stamina.
But now I'm going to take my flanking attack with Bear Drill on the pink guy.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Go for it on the pink guy.
And let's see. So
You're attacking against EAC, correct?
no, I think don't solar weapons always use kinetic?
Oh,
They do.
okay.
But I missed anyway.
Okay. All right. So unfortunately, that kinetic weapon is just gonna miss him. That grease is making it a little bit easier for them to get their.
Does he still have a penalty from the Jello?
Yeah, he would still have the penalty from the Jello.
But that doesn't not enough for a 10 to hit.
Right. Nope.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
That's right.
Unfortunately. Okay. So Tehwas.
Okay, I will see about taking another shot at blue. And this will be the same thing where I'm shooting, adding an injection to this as well.
Okay.
So we are 1,
Which
2,
one?
fire. This is at blue.
Cool.
At blue.
All right, so that is against EAC 18.
Yep, that'll hit.
Okay, so that's going to be 1 point of acid damage, and
Okay.
I need a fortitude save from blue. This is DC 14.
DC 14 fortitude save. Okay. As blue is trying to shake off this attack. Let's see. DC 14 was it fortitude, correct?
That's right.
Okay. It's gonna fail.
I'll take it. All right, so this pharmaceutical injection does 2 different things. First off, you're encumbered, which for you means you're moving more slowly.
Okay.
And the other part is because you failed the fortitude save, you are entangled. That means that you cannot run or charge, and you take a -2 to your AC, attack rolls, and a whole bunch of other,
Oh, that's
mostly
awesome.
AC and attack rolls.
Nice.
So basically, it's an injection shot that causes you to just feel real groggy and weak.
Okay, so while that injection manages to penetrate the thick tortoise skin through, you got into its skin, not into its shell. He's gonna look up at you and just kind of look all groggy, and he's gonna kind of blink around and be like, "We might have underestimated you wrestlers." Hieronomo Jones, it's your
Yes.
turn.
Is it my turn again? No.
No,
You.
It is litigators.
Oh, Litigator's turn. Okay, Litigator, go for
okay,
it.
yeah, I thought I was at the bottom. Well, the litigator is is out of usable spell slots, so he will quickly use one of his first level, 0th level spells to open a small portal to a world in which this planet is a forbidden glacier, and try to cause some cold damage to these guys.
Try to cause some cold damage. Excellent.
So it's
attack was 18.
Yeah, it's
All right,
it's
so I
it's
need
not
to
actually
make-
targeted. That's another one of those weird things that I need to adjust at some point.
Yeah. We'll fix it.
Yeah, but it would be a DC reflex save.
Right, so I need
DC
to make a
14.
reflex save. Okay. I think I've got the reflex value in there. All right, so
Actually, sorry. Just backtrack real quick. I will laugh haughtily at the one on the ground to attempt to demoralize him again before casting that spell.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so you gonna roll intimidate
Yeah, so let me try that again.
to make him shaken.
What do you say when you try to demoralize him?
Yeah, are you?
I hear
smack
reptiles
talking?
don't like the cold.
Especially
Wow.
reptiles who like the skulk.
Factually true.
All right, so that is gonna be enough to make him shaken again.
He'll
So
be shaking even more after I blast him with some Arctic cold.
yeah, all right. So I made a will save for the
It's reflex.
Or I'm sorry, I made a reflex save for the blue one there. Now I need to make a reflex save for the purple one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
So it looks like that the blue one is going to make it regardless, and the purple one is going to fail.
Man, the purple one is not having a good day. So he
How
takes
much damage?
maximum damage, which is 3.
3 points of damage. Okay. So as you blast him with that, this is cold energy, right?
That is correct.
All right. So you blast him with that those icicles that are just flying off of your fingers. All of a sudden, he is going to drop his baton at that point, and he's clearly got a little bit of blood running in a rivulet down his mouth. And he is going to attempt to start to try to retract himself into his shell and use his elbow to kind of poke his buddy and just be like, this is more than we bargained for. We're not even being paid for this. Look, no wrestling fan is worth this. I don't want to die out here. There's nobody out here. We surrender. And he holds his hand up high. And the other one
Skulk would be so disappointed.
The other one is going to also be trying to surrender at this point, as you guys have clearly made it obvious that you are not the pushovers that they expected when they were told to go stop you from following Brandy Brutal.
With that, as they surrender and stuff, I eventually come up and, grab each of their decks before they go into the shell. With bear strength, lift both of them up and bring them up to my eye level and go like, so next time, we're going to bring you back to this truck. We're going to have a really nice, long talk. And I basically begin to turn around with holding both of them, begin to walk to the truck, and I think next time we can kind of see what we interrogate them with to see why they attacked us.
I think
Also,
that
which
sounds
one of you
great.
has the keys?
Yeah, we need a new car.
I got the keys, and that's the one that is the pink one that is in the bear's right hand, and he manages to pull it out of one of his tactical pockets that is also filled with a bunch of knives and just sort of street weapons. One of those little pocket knives is hinging on one of the keys, and he's shaking it out, and he's getting all of those little weapons everywhere. It's clear that this guy's armed to the teeth, but he is offering you the keys to their car.
Good.
All right.
Without
and
any
so
coercion.
I think that next time we will figure out exactly what's going on and what these guys' goals might have been, and we may find out the fate of Brandy Brutal and the Skulk on our next episode of Starfinder X.T.R.E.M. Thank you all so much for turning in. Chat, Lori from chat,
Woo.
I certainly have not forgotten about the villain point. That is something that I'm going to carry over into the next session. We'll remind folks that I have that. Peyton, please don't let me forget.
And
Don't worry,
somebody already drew
I'll
Hieronomo. It is the best thing ever. It totally made my day. It's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. We will be happy to share all that stuff on all of our social media accounts. Before we sign off here for the moment, why don't we all remind folks who we are, throw out any Twitter handles that you might have, and then we'll go ahead and call it for the day.
All right, we'll start with Jason Tondro. Go ahead.
I'm Jake Tondro. I'm on Twitter at Dr. Comics, all spelled out, Dr. Comics. And if whoever the artist is that drew Hieronomo, please tag me on Twitter so I can tell everybody about this fantastic piece.
All right, next, John Compton.
I'm John Compton. I'm the Starfinder senior developer. I'm Archeotag on Twitter, ARCHAEOTAGH. And yeah, super excited to see more art and see what lies ahead.
And then Andrew.
I'm Andrew White. I'm the front-end dev lead on Paizo.com, and I'm not on Twitter. But feel free to draw me if you feel like it.
And Amanda.
All right. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in. Hopefully we can have more crazy shenanigans later on as things get a little bit more real for our wrestler heroes. And they might actually become real heroes. I'm Amanda Hamon. I am the managing developer for Starfinder at Paizo. This has been Starfinder X.T.R.E.M. Thank you all so much for watching. And please tune in next week at the same time, 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. We will see you all next time for some extreme Starfinder.
All right, thank you all so much. We hope to see you next time. Enjoy the time. We're going to head over to see BB Wolf, who is currently playing Starfinder herself with her crew. Hope you guys give her all the love in the world and everything else as she and her starfaring friends have a wonderful adventure. Once again, as we all said, I'm also the social media producer at Paizo, Peyton Smith. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you next week. So long and farewell.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.